If you've ever watched your baseball team's bullpen be perfect to seal game one, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button, folks. And we've got game two coming up today. Let's lock it up. Beautiful day here in Chicago. Wrigley Field looks beautiful. And guess what? The market is shut down. The market is shut down. But as the producer said already, oh my God, click on the right thing, Ryan. As the producer said, the government is shut down, but PreMarket Playbook is open for business. And you can bet we're going to go through everything here. This is going to be the October 1st edition of Benzinga's PreMarket Playbook for Wednesday. We're going to discuss the news. We're going to discuss the shutdown. We're going to make some trades, and we're going to make some money today. Benzinga's PreMarket Playbook, the Wednesday edition for October 1st, begins right now. Good morning and welcome back, folks. It's great to see a whole bunch of returning faces here today. I hope that you all enjoyed the last day of September and the first day of the MLB playoffs. We're back for some more here today. The only difference between today and tomorrow is the number on the calendar and the fact that the government is shut down. But is that actually a bad thing? We're going to go through some stats here today. Richard Judge is first here today. Judge, who is known for putting positive energy into the universe every single day. He is first here today. He's responding to Zach, but I don't see Zach's comment. So, Zach, I don't know when you made that comment or why I don't see it, but unfortunately, Judge is first here today. Actually, it's not unfortunate at all. But in any case, really good stuff. Candace, good morning. Held a little lack overnight. We're absolutely going to be talking about Lithium Americas. We've been talking about that stock for a few days now. Government's taking a stake. We're going to cover that. Congrats to anyone that was holding that. That's a good way to start off today. Dara, good morning. Mikola, good morning. Day Trader, good morning. Day Trader, I saw your post before we even went live here today. And guess what that means? We start the show early with the register ring. Crypto was hot overnight, scored 119% winner on a 35x soul trade on Jupiter. Well done, Day Trader. Well done. I think you're West Coast and you're up early attacking things, playing crypto overnight. Making money never sleeps for Day Trader. We're lucky. Good morning, boss. Hope you have a great day here today. Jane, good morning. Welcome back. Francis, good morning. Cad Monkey, good morning. Matt and Peter, good morning. Peter, let me know if you talked to James here today. He was super busy yesterday, but I did ping him. Let me know if he makes contact with you. Sun-Kissed Yogi, good morning. As always, welcome back. Corey, good morning. Welcome back. Rooster in the house. Good morning. Government might be shut down, but it can't stop us. You got that right, brother. We good to go. Kelly, good morning. Hoot, good morning. Ryan, good morning. Big Dave, good morning. Chuck, good morning. Fidenico, good morning. What do y'all think about NVIDIA? Break to new all-time highs yesterday on NVIDIA. I think the question that you're actually asking is there some more legs for that? We'll see. And you're going to have to juxtapose that against the stats here from the government shutdown that we're going to cover shortly. So you should be able to get your answer. As Ryan is asking politely, first of all, Ryan's got a great name. So as he's asking politely, please hit that like. I did talk to 13 yesterday, by the way. He said he got his problem resolved. And this is how good 13 is. Not only did he get his problem resolved, but he also spun up a backup. So even if there is another problem, he's got a backup ready to go because a good soldier is always prepared. Glass half full. Good morning. Welcome back. Producer, you lock it in every day. We appreciate you. Brian, good morning. Welcome back. Just passing through. Good morning. Welcome back. Tara, good morning. Tennis is life. Good morning. Bro, how you feeling? Bro, I am feeling great. I am feeling great. I really think the Cubs can get it done here today. They're actually going to have Kittredge as an opener, followed by Shota Imanaga. So I'm feeling pretty good. And I don't give a damn about the government shutdown. So no problem here. 3D, buenos dias. Good morning, 3D. It's good to see you again. Lambo Rolls, good morning. Gary, good morning. Laura, good morning. Oh my God, good morning. Is that a good oh my God? Is it a bad one? Good one? Anyway, it's good to see you, so good morning. JJ, good morning. Blazed Rhino, good morning. Big Bear Hug, good morning. Christian, good morning. All that glitters good morning. I love that name. Brandy, good morning. Jay Grant, good morning. Buffalo by Bicycle, Larry, and Hockey Player, good morning. Hockey Player, are you excited for hockey season, which is like right around the corner? Starts this month. Can't wait. And did you see the Kaprizov deal yesterday? Definitely feel like Minnesota overpaid. Maybe there's a bit of jealousy in there because I wanted him on the Hawks, but that's another story. Brian, good morning. Zach, good morning. Yassine, good morning. Luque, good morning. Kenneth, good morning. Durkis, good morning. Unpopular Truth, good morning. High Performance Mini Boats, good morning. Eb, that's, I think, EB. I'm going to call you Eb. Eb, good morning. Zoo, good morning. It's good to see you again. Yes, that girl, good morning. Welcome back. Ed, good morning. Harvey, good morning. Bilal, good morning. It's good to see you. Angelito, good morning. And Lost Penny, good morning. We got all of the early birds here. Let's go ahead and do our stock market today. All right, futures red across the board on the back of the government shutdown news and ahead of today's open for October 1st. However, they're considerably up off the lows. S&P futures down 0.41%, Dow futures down 0.3%, and the NASDAQ futures down 0.47%. So we are less than 0.5% down on this little bit of a gap down. And as mentioned, it is up off the lows. S&P futures actually tested 66.80. We're currently at 67.11. So a nice little bounce going into the open. We'll see if we get more of that here today. Let's take a look at some cues from the last session here. Most sectors in the S&P 500 closed on a positive note, with information technology, healthcare, and industrial stocks recording the biggest gains on Tuesday. However, energy and consumer discretionary stocks bucked the overall market trend, closing the session lower. U.S. stocks still settled higher as the Dow Jones surged to a new closing high. The government shutdown comes after major indices recorded gains last month. The S&P 500 gained more than 3% for September, and the Dow added almost 2%. The NASDAQ jumped 5.6% during the month. On the economic front, U.S. job openings rose by 19,000 to 7.227 million in August from a revised 7.208 million. The Chicago Business Barometer declined to 40.6 in September from 41.5 in the previous month, compared to market expectations of 43. The S&P CoreLogic Case-Shiller Home Price Index increased 1.8% year over year in July. Now let's go back to some more stuff about the shutdown here. Indices dropped as the U.S. federal government officially entered a shutdown at 12:01 a.m. on Wednesday morning, October 1st, after Congress failed to reach an agreement on a spending plan. However, historical data suggests that these events are often short-lived and have a limited long-term impact on equities. In fact, the longest shutdown ever was 34 days. That happened in December of 2018 into January of 2019. Meanwhile, the 10-year Treasury bond yielded 4.15%, and the 2-year bond was 3.60%. All right, let's go back to the chart here. We'll take a look at the SPY and see where we stand. We've really kind of been looking at the same levels the past few days, and lo and behold, that is what it looks like we're going to do here again today. Now, I know in the pre-market here today, in fact, we'll actually start with the intraday chart. If you take a look here, you'll see that this is the low of the SPY, about 661-ish. Looks like it did print in the 660 handle. This was lower than yesterday's intraday triple bottom low. And you can see we're actually trading up here ahead of the open. Now, I don't want to make any big predictions yet. We'll see what happens when the market actually opens. But early on, given the information that we have, this is absolutely encouraging. We're going to cover some more of those stats here in a sec. But this is kind of what it looks like inside. If we back out to the daily chart, the result of this is that we have the start of an inside candle forming. So we're actually inside the body of yesterday's candle so far. We'll see if we end up breaking out through the top or breaking down through the bottom. Still have the 20-day moving average as a key level there. That's 658.70. And I still have the all-time high As a key level to the upside, that value 667.34. So, and in fact, you know what I should do? I'm actually going to go ahead and add a horizontal line for that because I feel like we've been banging against this for a while. 667.34. Let's just go ahead and plot that here on the graph. And that is an all-time high level that we will absolutely watch here today. It's about time we have another upside level from this melt up. So we will examine that key level. But that's what we got here. Also worth noting, RSI 66.19. So despite hanging out near all-time highs here, technically, we're not even in overbought territory yet. Let's go back and take a look at some insights from analysts here. I know the government shutdown is what's on everyone's mind, at least market-wise, so far here. The stock market successfully navigated a historically tricky September. Boy, is that the case? I mean, we were talking about September being really terrible, maybe even a delayed effect, possibly bottoming in October. Market shrugged all of that off. We actually had a pretty good September. Concluding the month with a handsome gain of over 3% and continuing its recent melt-up. As the calendar flips to October and the government shutdown is a near-term hiccup for markets, investors need to know whether this powerful momentum can be sustained. And I think that's the big question here because, you know, if we do trade down a little bit, is this actually a buying opportunity? Where is that bottom? Where should we be buying? One of the things that we've been discussing in happy hour is that eventually there's going to be a time, we don't know when this is, nobody really knows when this is, but there is going to be a time where the buy the dippers do not get rewarded. And when the market sells off and people buy the dip, and then the market sells off more and people buy the dip again, and then it sells off more, really what happens? I think one of the big things that traders are looking for is this government shutdown the start of that down move? I'm not too sure that's the case, but that's definitely something we're going to look at over the next several sessions here, I'm assuming. I do understand that they're supposed to have another vote today, so I suppose it's possible that if more Democrats go against the party here, they can end the shutdown here today. I don't know if that's going to happen. I'll react to whatever happens. I'm not going to make a prediction on that. According to a recent analysis by portfolio strategist George Smith, historical trends suggest the outlook is more of a treat than a trick. I love it that it is October 1st and we're busting out the Halloween jokes. That's great. They're actually a little bit late because I discovered yesterday that there are people that already have their Halloween decorations up in front of their home in September. That seems a bit aggressive, but it is what it is. Well, October is often associated with spooky market crashes of the past. God, I love Halloween in October. Its overall history is surprisingly positive. Smith's analysis highlights that since 1950, the S&P 500 has posted positive returns in October nearly 60% of the time with an average gain of 0.89%, nearly 9/10. That's actually not terrible. Not the handsome 3% gain that we saw last month, but a pretty decent gain anyway for an index fund, and 60%, that's better than a coin flip slightly. A key concern might be that September's strong performance, quote, pulled forward, end quote, gains from October. However, the data does not support this fear. The average return for an October that follows a positive September is nearly identical at 0.8. The chart by LPL Research, FactSet, and Bloomberg, shown below here or on the screen for you, visualizes monthly performance, showing that while September is often weak, October and November have historically delivered solid gains, especially in more recent periods. Looking beyond just 1 month, the entire fourth quarter, October to December, stands out as the strongest 3-month period of the year for equities. We talked a little bit about this yesterday. We also gave you some better stats that when the market is up in September, the following Octobers have even a higher chance of producing a gain. Since 1950, the fourth quarter has delivered combined average returns of almost 2%. Over the past 5 years, that average return has surged to over 6%. This trend, often boosted by a, quote, Santa Claus rally, end quote, in December, underscores a period of historical strength that the market is just now entering. The chart tracking 3-month returns clearly shows that October to December period as the peak performer across all measured timeframes. I understand gold is continuing to hit highs. Crypto was absolutely hot overnight there. But Stats say that the equity markets should be okay here in the fourth quarter. Beyond seasonality, the market's current momentum provides another compelling bullish signal. The S&P 500 is set to close out its fifth consecutive winning month, a relatively rare event. Smith's research on these hot streaks reveal powerful historical precedents, and they are as follows. This marks the 33rd time since 1950 that the S&P 500 has had a winning streak of 5 or more months. In the past, these streaks rarely stopped at just 5 months. They kept going. The average one-year forward return following a 5-month streak is 13%. That is significantly above the long-term average. And most impressively, even in the 10 instances when the streak did end at 5 months, the S&P 500 has never been down a year later. So you take these stats for what it means. Painting a pretty decent picture, at least so far. Now, of course, everything is subject to change. In conclusion, past performance, is no guarantee of future results, the combination of favorable October seasonality, the strength of the fourth quarter, and the powerful momentum of a 5-month winning streak presents a historically bullish setup for equities as we head into the final months of the year. Now, we do have some upcoming economic data that was scheduled here for Wednesday, but with the government shutdown, we'll see what we get. September ADP's employment data should be out at 8:15. That should be right now. Yep, there it is. Tennis is life. You actually beat the producer here. You know what? One up for that. ADP private payrolls minus 32K. The expectation was 51K, and the last read there was 54K. I'm assuming that you got that data print correct. I'm going to be disappointed if you didn't, because I just read it to the group without fact checking it first. I guess I should have done that. We'll consult Benzinga Pro, and bang, Tennis's life is right on the money. So, good stuff there. The other thing that I wanted to cover here, September's S&P final U.S. manufacturing PMI will be released at 9:45, and September's auto sales data is yet to be determined. We were supposed to have a jobs report on Friday. It doesn't look like we're going to be getting that either. Okay, let's keep talking about the shutdown a little bit here. U.S. government shuts down as Trump's last-ditch effort fails. And from jobs to travel and more, here is the potential impact of the aptly named Schumer shutdown. The U.S. federal government officially entered a shutdown at 12:01 a.m. on Wednesday, October 1st, after Congress failed to reach an agreement on a spending plan. While the headline news introduces a new layer of uncertainty for markets, historical data suggests that these events are often short-lived and have a limited long-term impact on equities. For investors, looking past the political turbulence is often key. Here are some facts that you need to know. History shows that government shutdowns are generally not a reason to panic sell. I'm super thrilled that this is literally the first sentence of the first point, because this is something that I absolutely wanted to convey here today. Definitely something I wanted. There's no reason to panic sell here today. If you're going to sell something, make sure that you have a really good reason and you feel good about it. Don't panic into anything here today. The U.S. government has shut down 20 times since 1976, with the average shutdown lasting only 8 days. While some market volatility can occur, investors have generally looked past these budget-related disruptions. Market performance following a shutdown has been strong. The S&P 500 has historically posted average returns of 1.2% in 1 month and 2.9% 3 months after a budget is passed. 1 year after a shutdown ends, the S&P 500 posts an average gain of plus 13% and has ended higher in 86% of cases, according to the Kobisi letter. Now, I'll go ahead and give you this story. There's a couple of good tweets that you can pull from this story. I started with one here that I'm going to share with you folks now. This is, in fact, the Kobisi letter. And I think that this is really important. I've said for a long time that the media turns your brain to mush, and it is not something to be trusted. So we're going to go with this. Government shutdown facts that the media just simply won't cover. The average length of the shutdown is 8 days. We just talked about that. The S&P 500 has ended higher 1 year after a shutdown in 86% of cases, which we just highlighted. The S&P 500 posts an average gain of 13% 1 year after the shutdown ends. During the 35-day shutdown in 2028, good Lord, Ryan. In 2018, the S&P 500 rallied 11%. That was the longest shutdown ever. S&P rallied 11% during that time. While the government is shut down, the U.S. defers about $400 million a day in costs. And the Fed generally turns more dovish if government data releases are paused. Historically, the market actually welcomes a shutdown. So again, I suspect that we're going to see gloom and doom stuff. We always do. The stats don't necessarily paint that picture. They don't necessarily paint that picture. Now, there are some risks. It's not all going to be butterflies and roses, if that's the saying. The most significant immediate impact for financial markets is the suspension of vital economic data. The Bureau of Labor Statistics confirmed it will not collect or release any data during the shutdown, meaning that this Friday's highly anticipated jobs report will be delayed. This data blackout is the primary concern for investors and the Federal Reserve as it muddies the economic outlook. As Jim Bianco, president of Bianco Research LLC, noted, a prolonged delay in statistical reports can become a significant issue, making it difficult for policymakers and investors to make informed decisions. We covered this yesterday, but as the stats say, it's not likely what's going to happen. These shutdowns are often short-lived. And probably won't produce any major market or economic negative impact. Goes on to say here that the duration is everything. While short-term shutdowns have a minimal economic impact, the longer the closure lasts, the greater the hit to growth. So this is definitely something that we should stay on top of here. A shutdown can reduce government spending. Thank God. Delay paychecks for hundreds of thousands of federal workers, sad trombone, and disrupt private businesses that rely on government services. Shoulder shrug. The 16-day shutdown in 2013, for example, lowered annualized GDP growth by as much as 0.6%. That's according to the Office of Management and Budget. For now, LPL research notes that such events can create tactical opportunities to buy into a seasonally strong period for stocks. However, the key risk remains a prolonged political stalemate that could have a more tangible effect on the economy. So again, as the header here said, this seems to all be about duration, not the fact that the government actually shut down and the market is barely gapping down 0.5%. Here, we talked about this a little bit yesterday. Let's clarify this. Which other services and institutions are closed during a shutdown? Military employees would likely not be paid during a shutdown. National parks would be closed. The Labor Department and IRS would operate on a limited basis with no managed helplines for consumers. Regional Department of Veterans Affairs offices are expected to be closed. Social Security benefits would still go out. The FDA would not process any new drug applicants. Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, or SNAP, benefits would be covered for up to 1 month. Remember, the longest shutdown ever was 35 days, 35 days. And SNAP benefits are going to be covered for a month. And the National Zoo and Smithsonian in Washington, D.C. would not be open. I will have to cancel my plans for that. Okay. The other thing I wanted to, what time is it? Okay, I know we've got Tim here, but let me breeze through one more thing, because what we had here was Nike reporting earnings last night. We're going to go take a look at that. I know there seems to be a number of folks that follow this stock. I know this is not my cup of tea here, but this actually was at a pretty interesting point. You can see right before the earnings print, the stock was right at the 200-day. That value was 69.89. We closed yesterday at 69.73. So we basically closed right beneath the 200-day. We did have that 100-day, 20 cents above that. And today here now, we are trading at plus 4.46%. So Nike on the chart here is actually doing some pretty good work. First of all, I know that we dipped beneath the low of the island candle that we made here back in June, but we were barely dipped below it. All three candles that were below it have wicks to the downside. And now after this earnings print, we've actually traded above that. And in addition, we've gapped above the 200-day and we are sitting above the 20-day. This means that a key level here for Nike today is going to be 72.19. I think if we close above that, we might actually be starting a new trend to the upside here for Nike. It is worth noting that there is significant resistance at $80 if this does, in fact, continue to trade higher. Also worth noting that the 50-day moving average is there at 74.67. Let me go through the report here real quick, then we'll get to Tim. I can't wait to hear what Tim says about not only baseball, but the shutdown as well. Nike reported financial results for the first quarter of fiscal 2026 after the market closed on Thursday. Nike reported first quarter revenue of $11.72 billion. That beat the estimate of $11 billion. The athletic footwear and apparel company reported first quarter earnings of 49 cents per share, beating analyst estimates of 27 cents per share. Total revenue was up 1% year over year in the first quarter. Nike brand revenue totaled $11.4 billion, up 2% year over year. Nike direct revenues were down 4% to $5.4 billion, and wholesale revenues were up 7% to $6.8 billion in the quarter. North America was up 4%, Greater China was down 9%, Europe, the Middle East, and Africa were up 6%, and Asia Pacific and Latin America were up 2%. Inventories were $8.1 billion at the end of the first quarter. That was down 2% compared to the prior year. Nike ended the period, with $8.6 billion in cash equivalents, and short-term investments. Quote, this quarter, Nike drove progress through our win now actions in our priority areas in North America, wholesale, and running. That came from Elliott Hill, president and CEO. While we're getting wins under our belt, we still have work ahead to get all sports, geographies, and channels on a similar path as we manage a dynamic operating environment. Nike returned $591 million to shareholders in the form of dividends and repurchased $123 million of its common stock in the first quarter. Nike said it expects different aspects of its business to recover over different timelines. Nike is expected to provide forward-looking information and commentary in its earnings call, which it ended up doing, and this morning, the stock is still holding higher by about 4.5%. We will see how Nike trades here today. All right, folks, it's Wednesday. It is that time. We're going to go ahead and bring on Tim Melvin. Let's see how he's doing. Tim, good morning. How are you doing, boss?
Good morning, Ryan. Before we get to important stuff like the Cubs and baseball, I have to tell you, Ryan, as you know, I am a kind and gentle and calm man.
I can confirm that is true.
But there are times like this morning when I am in sympathy with H.L. Mencken when he wrote, at times the rational man has to simply feel like running up the black flag and slitting some throats. Now,
that escalated quickly.
Let's break out the knuckle dusters here, guys, because we just run and you read this whole thing during the average shutdown. The stock market did this and this happened and this. There's not enough data points for anybody to be making a statistical analysis of government shutdowns. Each and every one of them has been different. To compare 2018 with zero interest rates was pre-COVID. So it's a whole different set of economic circumstances that exist today. So it's not even a fair comparison, right? We don't know what's going to happen. And it's on Wall Street and in Washington. Washington is never going to get this one. We got to learn to say, I don't know. All right. We don't have to have this emphatic, wonderful, marvelous opinion on everything, except for marketing reasons. All right. That's the only reason you come out here and see people pulling opinions out of their backside, right? Because on the 1 in a million chance that it's correct, they're geniuses, right? They're going to market that all over the place. See Garzarelli slash Elaine, right? Or Prechter slash Rob.
It'll go for 10 years. I predicted this. This is what happened. It'll almost be a resume line item.
Yes. And of course, now, if you're wrong, it doesn't matter because so is everybody else, right? So what are you doing here? Because we don't know, right? And by the way, somebody made the comment that average Americans get hurt. Guys, if this goes on more than a week and you have to fly, and my wife does, it's going to be one of the more unpleasant experiences of your life because the TSA workers are there. They're mandated to be there. They're not getting paid. right? I remember this one, right? They're not happy beasts. So getting through the line going to be a little more tricky. So there's all sorts of fallouts and uglies from this. And I love the idea of a smaller government. But ladies and gentlemen, this is not the way to go about it. Electing some folks with an IQ above that of, I don't know, a dirt clod would be a good start. But we know, we have a hard time with that with the
Those
election
people
process.
don't seem to be attracted to the government jobs, to be quite honest with
Yeah,
you, Tim.
well, absolutely. And that's why anybody that ever files to run for office should automatically be disqualified for moral reasons. That's my opinion. I'm sticking to it. You should have to be drafted into running for these jobs. But anyway, yes, go Cubs, go. Right? I don't know if I ever told you, my kids used to live on Addison when my daughter.
No, you did not tell me that.
Yeah. Because first off, my son went to Northwestern, my son-in-law.
Cool. What a small world.
Yeah, it's his favorite city. My granddaughter was born in Chicago at Northwestern Hospital downtown. Now, I've got lots of friends, as you know, at the SIBO and the CBOT. So I've always spent a lot of time in Chicago. But then they moved there, and they were right on Addison. And his father has kind of the hookup into the MLB office. So
That's pretty sick.
We were at the division series against the Mets when they lost, in spite of Chris Bryant's single-handed effort to win the thing the year before they went to the World Series. And I was at Game 3 of the World Series with my daughter, which was one of the coolest experiences ever. But I do have here a Chicago Cubs sweatshirt. I almost wore it this morning, but I'll save it for next week when it's actually chilly in the morning, that I purchased inside the stadium on the last game of the series against the Mets.
Wow. Okay, cool.
Somewhere around here is a W flag. I just can't remember where it is.
That's okay, Tim, because around where I live, boy, those flags were flying. They were flying everywhere, so I saw my fair share of that.
I bet they were. And somebody, Crispit Biscuit, says you don't have a solution from here. There is a solution from here, guys. There really is. As a trader and an investor, I can't do much for the country. All right. No, I'm taking that back. I could. They won't call. I could fix it all.
I'll tell you what, Tim. I would give you my vote. I'll be honest. I would give you my vote.
Yeah, but the disclosures that I have to make up front with, I'd be way behind. But anyway, look, you know what the answer in here, guys, is just going to be simple, old-fashioned, basic trend following.
Perfect. I think that's something that we're all ready to do. We're all skilled enough to do at this point. So that works.
We've been doing just a ton of work, because to me, trend following is the value investing of trading, right? Deep value investing, we all know it works. Everybody knows it works, right? It's boring. It's longer term in focus, and you own old gnarly looking stocks with hair on them that nobody cares about, and they're not doing anything exciting. And the CEO has cuffs in his slacks and tassels on his loafers. I mean, it's not exciting stuff, right? But it does work, and it beats the market, and you can use some leverage and some other stuff to really juice those returns into the sky in deep value investing. We all know it. There's like 5 of us that actually do it. Right? And you can't scale it because you can't manage a ton of money. Trend following is the exact same way. Trend following works ridiculously well, particularly for individual investors, because we don't have the entry and exit difficulties that larger funds might, particularly in smaller markets. We can move a hell of a lot faster, and we could put a stop in without absolutely destroying the market that we're trying to trade. So trend following, and Bill Dunn at his shop just did, Bill passed away last year, but the Dunn Capital Shop just did a great study. And they showed that, when trend following first came out in the 70s and 80s, John Henry got rich and Dunn got rich. A whole bunch of folks got really stinky, dirty, nasty rich. Now, then John Henry ruined his reputation and wasted his money by buying the Red Sox, but, he made the money trend following. And there's nothing wrong with the Red Sox. Is if they would just cease to exist as an organization, I'd be at peace with them.
They did beat the Yankees last night.
But that's one of those things. I mean, that's like watching Satan fight Beelzebub. I mean, you just don't know who to root against. It's a tough call. When you're from Baltimore, you're sitting there going like, can they both all just like pass out?
Can they tie like the 49, like the Cowboys and the Packers? Can they tie somehow?
Right? Can they tie all? Can they tie all 3 games and neither of them move forward from here, I like the idea. But again, I can solve all the problems with the nation. I can solve the problems with Major League Baseball. They don't call. I don't understand. I've got the bat phone here on the desk. They just don't call. But
You got a lot of support too. Looks like looks like a 2028 run. We might have to break the news here on
this could be a landslide. Anne Marie says I'm too young to run. Anne Marie, I have shoes that are old enough to run. Okay. Age is only 35. So basic, just core trend following is going to get you where you want to go. So anyway, in the 70s and 80s, trend following with lots of leverage, right? These guys were using anywhere from 5 to 10 times leverage. Guys got really super stinky, filthy, dirty, rich. Remember the turtle experiment. If you've never read The Turtle Traders, go root for the Turtle Traders. I mean, go find that book. It's online, easy to find. Richard Dennis made hundreds of millions of dollars as a trend following trader on the floor. And he and a partner, William Eckert, had an experiment. It was actually the inspiration for Trading Places. And the bet was, can you trade a bunch of traders from different backgrounds? And there were some math students, but there were some philosophy students, some English majors. 16 people, I believe, was the final number. And they taught them trend following, and they gave them capital and said, here are the rules. You must follow the rules. And it was like buying a 40-day high and selling a 20-day low, and it's stops as a percent of capital and volatility. Those who followed the rules got filthy, dirty, I mean, just ridiculously rich. Jerry Parker of Chesapeake Capital is still in business. A couple others just shot the lights out. We're talking tens of millions of dollars of personal wealth created by these guys in a short period of time. Then Wall Street got involved in trend following. And they said this trend following stuff is cool, but you need to dampen down the volatility, reduce the leverage, and make it a little easier for us to sell to customers because they can't handle all that volatility. Same argument that goes with deep value, right? Because you got to be able to eat volatility like ground glass. Matter of fact, you have to learn to make volatility work for you. Same thing with trend following. A successful trend follower will tell you they don't win even half the time. Right, most of their trades are going to be losing trades. There's a famous trend follower out there. I think it might have even been done. He said his win rate was only about 40%. Right, small losses are the key to success as a trend follower.
Yeah.
But when markets go boom, trend following will save your butt. 100% of the time, because the minute it gets below, whether you're using a moving average or a Donchian channel or whatever, or Keltner channel, or whatever it is, to determine trend. And there's lots of different ways. We're going to talk about some here in a minute. But they're going to sell the market when the trend breaks to negative, right? So you're going to be short the indexes as they collapse, offsetting a lot of what's going on in the rest of your portfolio potentially. So now that we've set up trend following, and Ryan, we actually ran into this the other night when we did that webinar.
Mm-hmm.
If you remember, we did long-term, short-term trends were positive. Long-term and intermediate terms were positive, but short-term trend was starting to turn negative. Some of the bigger names in the market were on that particular list, as you recall. Ryan might even have it there still.
I don't actually still have that list, so we're going to have to recreate it here.
Yeah, recreate it real quick just so folks can see. There are some trend shifts going on in the market that you need to be aware of.
I'm going to add the rankings and the trends here. Let me know which ones you want me to select.
Just do long-term trend is positive, medium-term trend is positive, short-term trend is negative.
Okay, so let's do that. Long-term trend positive, yes. Medium trend, yes.
Yes.
Short term, no.
No.
Very, very simple. 3 characters there. Okay.
Just sort that by market cap.
You got it?
Look at the number of market leaders that are on that list.
Meta, CVX, AMD, Toyota, Lind, British American Tobacco, Nike, which just reported, Illinois Tool Works.
Yeah, I mean it's
new eBay, Block. I mean these are stocks that we look at regularly here.
Yep. Now, and when you take it just to, let me just.
Sorry, I kept reading there.
No, that's okay. I cut you off, so I'm a terrible person. If you take this to just the 20-day moving average, which is they call it the traders moving average quite often. Now where it's Google, it's Amazon, it's Facebook, Meta, excuse me, I'm old. It's Broadcom, Oracle, Visa, Mastercard, Netflix, Costco, the oil companies, Philip Morris, Salesforce, all the market leaders except Nvidia are starting to roll to the downside a little bit. So, trend can keep you out of some really tricky situations in here, help you determine when to get short, when to start taking the other side of some trades, to step aside in some of your longer term accounts or put hedges into place. So, um, to navigate a environment like we're going to have, if the government shutdown becomes an extended shutdown, trend following is going to be the very best friend that you ever had, because people are going to have opinions about stocks. They're going to have opinions about bonds and the dollar and everything else. They're mostly going to be wrong, and the market price will tell the truth.
Okay.
So there you go. All right, now second up on our hit parade for today, two people we've talked about whose research we've talked about, and I even introduced one of these folks here on Benzinga last year. Carlo Zarattini, I guarantee I said that name right, of Concretum Research, and Gary Antonacci, of the author of Dual Momentum, were announced yesterday as the recipients of the 2025 Charles H. Dow Award for their groundbreaking research paper. We talked about this a long time ago. We're going to talk about it again. A Century of Profitable Industry Trends. Now, this is a very cool paper, guys. They went back to 1926, as far back as they could get data, constructed industry portfolios, because obviously, in 1926, there were not ETFs. They looked at various industry groups, and then they just looked at them, and they used simple rules. They used Keltner channels and Donchian channels, and on both, they used a 20-day period for the upper band, and they used a 40-day period for the lower band of pricing. Both of these are really simple to use. Most charting services will have a way to create that. So it's very easy to look these up and figure them out. If a signal was given by either indicator, breaking, it was long only, by the way, breaking above the upper band of either the Donchian channel or the Keltner channels, the system went long. The stop was the lower band, obviously. If the market, the broader market, the S&P 500, went below the lower band of either, they hedged with a short S&P 500 position. All right. This is really simple, and because the lower band time frame, the look back, is twice as long as the upper band, you tend to stay invested for a fairly long period of time. You're looking for big trends and to get out for big booms, right? So it's 18%, 18.2% a year for almost 100 years. It's to the end of 2024. The market over that period of time did 9.7, so 2x the S&P 500 with a fraction of the volatility. Its Sharpe ratio is more than 2 times higher, and the drawdowns are substantially less. When we look at some periods that some of us will remember, when you look at the 1970s, it was a disaster with several more than 50% drawdowns, speeches from the White House about malaise, an oil crisis, hostage crisis. There was 2 down years. 1971 was down 7.1%. I'm sorry, 1974, which was down 56% in the market, and down 5.6% in 1977. Which is when the market was so bad that Warren Buffett gave his now very famous interview to Carol Loomis of Fortune magazine, where she asked him how he felt about the market, and he said, "Well, I feel much like an oversexed man in a harem." They had to edit that one, but Carol later shared it with the world. So in 2003, as everything was falling apart, this system was actually up 1.3%. In 2008, it was down just 11%, down a total of 9% in 2022. So the idea here is to be long the strong groups when markets are moving higher, and when it's really bad, you want to be on the side or completely hedged to the greatest degree possible. So it backs up a lot of what we just said. Now, Gary and Carlo both are doing some incredible work. Um, Gary is the author of Dual Momentum. If you've never read it, it is actually, if you're going to be a technician, it is on the mandatory reading list. All right,
Okay.
and it's very simple. It uses in its simplest form. There's all sorts of cool stuff you can do with this that are addressed in the book. With the simplest form, S&P 500, the world minus the U.S. index. I think that's URTH, and either bonds or cash. Whatever's outperforming, and it has to be positive 12-month returns, and whichever one is the strongest, that's the one that you own. If neither international or internet or U.S. stocks have positive 12-month returns, you go to cash for that period of time. Now, for a long time, it's been in international stocks. 2 months ago, it switched and went back to U.S. stocks. So that momentum has shifted. But anyway, that book really is mandatory reading. And
is it called The Complete Turtle Trader?
The Complete Turtle Trader is the Turtle Trader book. The book I'm talking about now is Dual Momentum.
Okay, sorry. I wanted to get this question answered here for Kenny Rogers. So, okay,
let me just make sure I'm giving you the right book, because I think it's just called the Complete Turtle Trader. Yes, Michael Covell's book. That's the one that you want. Great story. A lot of the folks, some of them couldn't follow the rules because you're doing stuff like you're buying 40-day highs and you're holding through like puke-inducing drawdowns and using tons of leverage. Some people couldn't do it. All right. But those that could got really rich, and you come away with some thoughts and ideas on trend following. And remember, you and I as individuals have this massive advantage, right? Because we only need to get off a few contracts, right? The big institutional guys, they got to get off millions. So, like if I want to short the Baltic Dry Index ETF, I can do it. Fidelity cannot. Okay, so we've got advantages that we can do that are going to be favorable for us. But now, dual momentum, by the way, does work on stocks. And dual momentum, all it says, Ryan, is the stock has to have positive 52-week returns. That's one. So time series momentum. But then it's got to have positive relative momentum. It's got to be outperforming the market over that same time frame. Now, you can do some really cool stuff. I almost said a bad word there, but you can do some really cool of whatever word you want to use with different time frames and dual momentum. Okay. But for our purposes, we're going to use 52-week, and then we're going to throw in some fundamentals just because I like to do that. What we're going to do, Ryan, we're going to look to own the very best stocks. Okay?
Do we want to clear out the trends here?
No, because unfortunately, this is one of the ones that Dev is still working on. We're going to use the F score.
Okay.
The Piotrowski F score measures 9 fundamental variables. The higher the score, the better the fundamentals of the company. Well, again, we're not Fidelity. We don't need 500 stocks to make up our portfolio. So we're just going to do the very best. We're going to take stocks with a perfect 9. That's liquidity, that's leverage, that's fundamentals, it's financial strength, it's everything that can be measured of importance is in that F score. So we're going to take stocks with a 9. We're going to rebalance this monthly. It's going to be very low turnover, and it's outperformed over every measurable time frame. It kicks the markets, you know what. And it's just some cool stocks, right? When you do this right now, you've got Disney, which is crushing the market. And, even as we all scream and point fingers and everybody hates Disney, it's beating the market. Then one that surprised me, because I didn't really think it was outperforming the market. If you'd asked me, without looking at the chart, I'd have said no. AT&T. Parker Hannifin is in there, which is a very cool company. It's motion and control systems, supplies products to everything, right? All the cool stuff for sure. Technology, renewable energy, aerospace, defense, semiconductors, life sciences, in there. Newmont Air Corp, gold, in there. Howmet Aerospace, in there. Fox Corp, which again, would not have guessed that, but Fox Corp, FOXA, is in there. FTI, which is Technip FMC PLC, British company in there. Antero Resources and Antero Midstream, so oil and gas is in there. And again, one that surprises me because I would not have guessed it. This stock was given up for dead years ago. Urban Outfitters.
Huh. I wouldn't have guessed that one either, honestly. Look at this.
And then, yes, and then one that if you were paying any attention at all to current events, even if you were near death and just listening to the scuttlebutt conversations of the nurses and doctors laying around you as you gasped your last, you had to realize that we're spending a lot more money on border security right now. And one of the issues with border security is where to put all these folks. And one of the companies with an answer to where to put all these folks is Core Civics. They call themselves a government solutions company. They are a for-profit prisons operator with a lot of contracts with Homeland Services.
What was the ticker?
CXW.
CXW.
Now, and this and GEO. GEO is a way. Look, where are they putting all the migrants that they're well, they're not interacting with that many, but where they all go? Into facilities owned by these guys. And they're on super long contracts. And it was so funny under the Biden administration. And this is when I first bought CXW, but especially GEO, I'm sorry. Whenever everybody was arguing about we're going to get rid of for-profit prisons, I'm like, hey, no, you're not. Read the contract. You're locked in forever. And besides which, they own the land and the property, so they've got the location. And if you think it's easy to get approval for a new location anywhere near a population center for a prison of any sort, you're smoking good stuff really early in the morning. These guys have the locations, the facilities, the contracts all locked up. They were never going anywhere. Right. And by the way, if you smoke the good stuff too much too early in the morning, you will find out what their facilities are like. So don't.
It wouldn't be a Wednesday morning without the Tim humor. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah, look, if you don't laugh, you cry, right? So
that's right. And I'd rather laugh, to be quite honest with you.
And I'd rather laugh. And then Carlos and the folks at Concretum. And guys, we've talked about Concretum studies before. It's Concretum, literally, are doing some groundbreaking, fascinating research in day trading, in short-term trading, in trading volatility, and in trading crypto. And I'm only going to talk about the crypto because it's a well-known, well-documented fact that I do not like crypto. Right? I don't think it's the answer to all of our problems. I don't think it's the new gold. I think it's going to go down with the South Sea bubble and John Law's Mississippi Company and the tulips and a whole bunch of others, right? That ended up bleeding off a whole ton of cash from folks over the years and costing them money. I think it's going to be one of those. Having said that, it's one of the better trending assets on the planet right now. And it is a digital speculative asset. Even I will admit that. If you got a system for trading it, there's money to be made. They came up with one, and they're just using Dacian channels, which again is just the channels of moving averages. And they're using it across various time frames. So they're using several time frames, long, intermediate, short. So they've got multiple positions. They can be long and short in various ones, balancing each other out. But just using this on Bitcoin with the shorter ones, it's a 30% compounded annual return. Okay, and they tested it about as far back as you got Bitcoin. Drawdowns were much less. Anything could have a lower drawdown rate than Bitcoin, right? I mean, Bitcoin's up there with Amazon as king of the drawdowns with an average peak to valley of about 80%. So this has nothing near that. It also worked on altcoins, not quite as well, but on the altcoin universe, it did it about 18%. So I don't like these. And no, Barry, I won't be poor either. I don't have to agree with you on Bitcoin to be poor or to be well off. So, but this is a very tradable asset class, and they've done some very, very cool work on how to trade crypto. So Concretum research.
That's cool.
Yes. I think Gary's site, if memory serves, is optimalmomentum.com. Yes. And by the way, Gary's got a couple models on his portfolio, and he doesn't on his page. He doesn't really get into these. He does have a blockchain and digital asset system. It's very similar to the one that Carlo discusses in his work, but they've got one that I'm a big fan of. I'm pretty sure I know how to reverse engineer it, and once I got it exactly right, I'll be back to you guys. But it's called Smurf, right? Which is appropriate. As years ago, I had a friend of mine in a drunken argument in a bar called me string of bad words, Smurf, string of bad words. And don't you know the nickname stuck for an unfortunately long amount of time.
They always seem to.
Yes, yes. But anyway, this is a stock market model that combines mean reversion with trend. And it's just looking to buy. Basically, the heart of this, you're going to buy oversold market indexes as they start to trigger, super short, intermediate, and long-term trend. You're trying to catch it from oversold and ride it all the way up. And they're using math to do this, not guesswork, and then exit when it's abnormally strong. It is very cool, and it's done extremely well since they started tracking it in 2008. Now, the other thing that he's got is he takes that model, and then he has gold. He adds gold ETFs, right? And then when gold is in a long-term trend, just to heck with everything else, it owns gold. And then when gold goes back to a long-term trend, it goes back to these, which has really blown the doors off of things.
Tim, we got a really important question here.
Sure.
Got to get you to answer it. Were you Brainy or Grandpa Smurf?
Papa. So yeah.
Good question, Dave.
Yeah. Yes. Good question. Why do I know I'm going to be really sorry I ever told you guys this?
Yeah. Look, our chat's got a pretty good memory, and they're good at making jokes, and that will not be the last time that you hear about that.
No. I'm sure it won't. Then there was another study out, and this one was pretty cool because they took John Bogle's old model for predicting returns, components of returns. Then there's really only three components of the returns of stock of the market broadly. One's the dividend yield. Okay, that's one component of total return. One is earnings growth. One is the price to earnings ratio. So they went back and they decomposed different periods in the market as to how much the PE ratio had contributed, how much earnings growth, and how much yield contributed to returns. And then they looked at what was implied at various market peaks. For instance, the implications in 1999 of the PE ratio were something absurd, like continual 17% earnings growth rates with a 30 PE. Now, today's is not quite that bad. Not quite. But if you regress this whole thing and you pick it apart, to justify today's earnings yield of 27%, which is extremely high, and 1.2% yield, you have to have earnings growth, consistent long-term earnings growth of 9 to 10% with a consistent P ratio of, drumroll, 35. So now ordinarily I'd say, heck, cool, throw out the scrap heap, one data point. Not one data point, because you have some very reliable barometers like the aggregate. Why am I suddenly talking about gold? Lion Atlas, because the fundamentals are brilliant. It's not because I'm a gold bug. It's not because that I think gold is some permanent store of magic value. It is because the fundamentals of gold, the cost of bringing the stuff up out of the ground has not gone up. The price has skyrocketed. That has created outstanding fundamentals from gold.
The problem is that now that you've confirmed the outstanding fundamentals for gold,
it's going to crash.
That might be. I don't want to make that prediction, but the problem now is that we're going to have to grease Lion's head down just to get it through the door frame, because Lion's been doing nothing but talking about gold for like the past 7 months. You're validating that he is going to be walking high today. Let's get out the grease and grease his head down so we can get him in and out the door.
Between the fundamentals and the trend, gold has been a story. So anyway, but the aggregate investor allocation to equities, excess KPO, market cap to GDP, forward PE are all suggesting, returns of sub 2% over the next 10 years. And now the deconstructed PE is saying about 0.5% going forward. So look, you need to be aware the trend is up. Okay, the trend is it's going to stay up until it rolls over. However, again, as I said, all these parameters don't tell you when you're going to get tossed out the window. It tells you what floor you're going to be on, right? We're on the very top floor of the very highest building in town right now as far as markets. Then, Lion's favorite market, gold, is telling you point blank, there's something going on in the world we don't like. Whether it's inflation, whether it's central bank instability, whether it's the need for higher, not lower interest rates globally, whatever it is, we're not sure about, but we know that gold isn't happy with the world we're in. All right. So there's all sorts of, reasons out there to think at some point this thing's going to roll over. And when it does, it's going to be ugly. So there we go. Trend is your friend, particularly in markets like this, where the trend is up. Valuations are high. The trend change is going to be critical, and you're going to need to catch it.
Okay.
So that's all I got for you today, guys. And I only took 1 minute of 13's time. Now, since I usually take 15 minutes, I think he owes me lunch or something.
Maybe. Tim, what time do the Orioles play today? Oh, sorry about that. All right.
Tim, wait a minute. The Orioles, they're going to the playoffs. They got tickets.
Oh my God, I'm going to reuse that one too. Tim, you never disappoint. Never disappoint.
All right.
Ever. All right, Tim, really good stuff here today. We're going to catch you next time. Have a good rest of your day. We'll see you.
Will do. Go Cubs, go. Bye, guys.
Hey, look at that. All right, now I actually feel bad about poking them about the Orioles there, but really good stuff. All right. Really good stuff from Tim. I love how he gives you lessons on like the concept of different things to look at to make money, as opposed to just talking about tickers. To me, I always find that to be the most helpful. So really good stuff. All right, we do have some movers today. We are going to welcome back 13. 13, you're not frozen, dude. How's it going?
Hey, how's it going, everybody? Sorry for the hiccup yesterday. Got everything sorted out. Should be okay. So, we can just go ahead and get some of these movers out of the way, even though there's not a whole lot of them. How is everybody this morning, by the way? How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing really good, dude, especially after the Cubs win yesterday. I'm doing really good. I do have one follow-up question from yesterday, though.
Okay.
Did you pull what Jeremy is talking about here, and did you take the PC out back and office space it? Did you want to?
I think I was talking about taking it up behind the woodshed.
You did. You were.
Yeah. But that's going to get me nowhere. I wanted to, but I didn't do it.
Okay. Cooler heads prevailed. 13. Let's go ahead and attack these movers. I can start at the top of the list here. I think I'm just going to assume that you covered LAC. We've kind of been talking about this as well. Let's just start with this one. This is likely going to be the biggest. It's going to have huge volume here. Lithium America shares are trading higher after the company reached an agreement with GM and the U.S. Department of Energy regarding the first draw on its DOE loan. Well, obviously we had talk about the government taking a stake here. Big volume, stock ripped in the after hours to above 8. And honestly, it is really just kind of traded sideways since that area. This is great, though, because this actually gives us a real good channel to take a look at here. And basically what I'm going to be watching here is this channel. I eyeballed it, but I've got it marked off from 742 to 805, a break up or a break down, and then a back test of that channel gives us an A+ setup for trade. This is what I will be looking at here today. I don't know if we'll get it, but we'll be looking at that. Quick look at the short interest on this one, 11.57% of the float shorted with 4.5 days to cover. So while it's not high, it exists, and it's somewhat notable. So we'll see if we end up getting any type of squeeze action from that post this big announcement. Remember, it is holding 32% higher here today. Floats 240 million. On average, it trades just shy of 20 million. We've done almost 24 here already today. 13, what say you here on LAC?
Yeah, I'm thinking that we need to get clear of that 8 level, because that is the big resistance level for this stocks going back to 2023. That was support back in 2023. As soon as we lost it, we have not, back in, let's see, it was October of 2023. We have not seen this price since. So we, maybe in the pre-market we did, but not in a regular session. We have not been able to get above that $8 level. A lot of sellers in the way there. But as soon as we do, I think we could go on a run, a little bit of a run. It seems like 850 to 60 is certainly in the cards, but I'd like to see this run into the 950 area. Big resistance coming up beyond 10. 1020 is a big level that I've got marked off. Somehow, if we continue running, I'm looking at the all-time high of 1241. Oh, I'm sorry, 1238, but right up in there, that 1240 area. That's going to be the all-time high back from 2023. Like I said, we haven't been above 8 since we lost it back in October of 2023. Big resistance area. Let's see what we get. It's going to have to get a lot of volume, though, because that's a large stock to move around. 240 million shares.
Yep. Bingo. Bingo. All right. We'll see what we get here today. LAC looking good, at least so far. All right. The next one I have on my list is Galaxy Payroll Group. I don't know if you covered this, because when I checked earlier, there wasn't any news on this. Let me just check again. Shares trading higher on no news here. On September 23rd, they regained NASDAQ compliance. You can see it's actually really big volume here today for the pre-market. In fact, the pre-market volume today dwarfs all of the session volume for the past several weeks here. We did trade as high as 7. If you back out a little bit, you can see from the chart that 7 is some resistance. And actually today, back on Tuesday, September 9th, we actually had a pop here. Let me go ahead and pull that. Well, looks like no news there either. So we actually had a pretty big pop there on September 9th. The volume today dwarfs even that. So I'm curious to see if this gets any type of footing here. We did pop up to 7. We've rolled all the way back over down to 473. It's worth noting that this is extended from the VWAP. So if we break down even further, attempt to reclaim the VWAP like we did earlier this morning, which also coincided with higher volume, by the way. If we break down from here, maybe we don't get that. Quick look around the horn on this one. 3.65% of the float shorted with 1 day to cover. This has an average 100-day volume of 54,000 shares. That's barely anything. Today, it's traded almost 14 million on no news. So keep that under your hat. Float on this one, 1.08 million. 13, what do you think here on GLXG? No
news. NASDAQ compliance last week. 10-to-1 share consolidation earlier this month. Balance sheet's getting worse. It's got 1 million shares in the float. That's really the only reason I can see why this is moving, because it's just so easy to push around. That I don't think this is moving on anything fundamental. This could be an account killer if you go too heavy in this. I think I'd be
totally
careful. Now, as far as we could get a trade out of this, there is a bit of a downtrend that is happening from the pre-market here. If you draw your own line there. Hey, thanks, Brett. And if we do manage to find some footing here, which it looks like we are going into the open here, we're going to need to see a recapture of some of these EMAs. We're beneath the 200, all of them actually, 9, 15, 65, 200. They all need to be recaptured. Looks like $5 is going to be the resistance area once we get past those EMAs. And I have VWAP after that. So several upside targets, EMAs, $5 VWAP, and then we're off. We could look at some other levels like around 575 or 625. But those are the first few things that need to happen to the upside to clear a lot of the resistance out of the way.
Okay, really good stuff there. Golf Lima X-Ray Golf. That's Galaxy Payroll Group. Okay, Michelle says, how about RZLV? Funny you should ask, Michelle. Let's cover it. RZLV, Resolve AI. Shares are trading higher. Shares are trading higher after the company raised its 2025 revenue target to 150 million annual run rate and set a 500 million goal for 2026. So some pretty good news here. pretty good news here on what's going to happen going ahead. In the future performance there. You can see we actually did trade with some pretty good volume. The notable thing, at least for me, we really kind of sold off on Monday. It sold off again yesterday, and then today's move right here in the pre-market basically takes us to where we were trading sideways at the end of the week last week and into the pre-market prior to the drop. So did we just completely close this gap? Is there more to go? Are we maybe going to turn this around? That's what we're going to be looking at here today. Quick look around the horn on this one. 5.1% of the float shorted with 1 day to cover. That comes on an average 100-day volume of 14.7 million. We've done just shy of 20 million today, so we're already over that. And the float on this one definitely much thicker than some of these movers that we trade at 198 million. So 13, what do you think here on RZLV?
Could you zoom into the price action this morning? Because
absolutely,
you'll probably be able to see the trend line that I'm thinking we might get a break of here soon. We're trying to recapture the view up right now, and then above that would just be the trend line. There is resistance, as you can see from the pre-market price action here at about 620, right in that area. The resistance really does kick in about 630. But the thick of the sideways consolidation is like about 615, 620. So that could be a resistance area. But we've got a bit of a downtrend going here in the pre-market that we could draw a trend line and look for that to break, and hopefully back test if it starts making moves, starts getting volume, and then we can launch from there. So that would ideally be what we'd be looking for with RZLV. We just need to get that component of volume going here that takes us over this trend line, and then we can get some of that resolution to the upside that we're looking for.
Okay, really good stuff. And you're right. This looks like this is happening right now. Now we've got 19 minutes till we open, so we'll see where we set up there when we do get that open. Okay, Tara here saying I think she means EPSM. Tara asking nicely. So you know what I'm going to do, Tara? I'm going to skip the next stock and go to the one that you asked so politely about, because being polite will get you everything around here. Here's EPSM. Now, this one should ring a few bells, to be quite honest with you, because we traded this one recently. On the day where we had a lot of those really crazy movers, this was one of them that moved. So, first of all, this is what the spike looks like here in the morning. Yes, it's true. It took us from 11 and change up to 23.5, and then right back down here to the 12 handle. Extremely volatile, as you would imagine. If we take a look at the news tab here in Pro, we don't have anything. Looks like we have a Form 144. I didn't go into this one. I don't think this is anything.
I mean, it didn't have any news really when it had that crazy move on September 9th.
That's exactly. So 13, I love, you must have the seeing stones from Lord of the Rings, because you were literally peering into my brain there. The Palantir. The whole reason that I was bringing this up is because I want to remind you of what we did the last time that we traded this stock here, or the last time that we saw this stock moving. Here we go. Back on September 10th, this was the gigantic move. Stock went from about $26 to $154, came all the way back in. I'm sure this smoked people, and I just don't want to see that happen again here. That too was moving on no news. So let's not necessarily be faked out by what's going on. Let's understand what the stock has done in the past, and keep that in mind, just to, again, keep yourself safe here. I think safety is going to be more important than gains here. If you are able to get some gains out of this, congrats. It may move quickly. Let's take a quick look around the horn on this one. 20.75% of the float shorted. What's interesting is that this is actually a 6% tick down from the last read. So part of me wonders if that big spike that we got on September 10th, which coincidentally is when we got that last Hive short report reading, I wonder if that actually forced about 6% or some percentage to close those shorts. It looks like maybe it did. Although we're still above 20%, so it's still pretty high. Days to cover is at a very manageable 1.3 days to cover. On average, the stock only trades 425,000. And to be quite honest with you, this average has been brought up considerably by the humongous couple of days that the stock had not long ago. Float on this is 2.6 million. It's traded 2.6 million today. 13, what do you think on this one? And I'm going to ask you a question I don't normally ask you. It's more personal than anything else. Are you going to try and trade this here today?
I don't know if I will or not. I don't know enough about the company. It's up what 15-16%. Let me look at the 5-minute chart. That'll probably tell you. I need to see something with some more volume. I don't know how well this is trading right now. It looks like the big move may have already happened. So I would say probably not. I just don't know enough about this or where it's going to go. I didn't cover this one. I mean, if there is going to be any upside movement, I would think maybe that 14 to 16 area is going to provide some pretty good resistance. But I don't know if we're going to end up getting that. We might, and that would probably be about the best part of the trade. But I just don't know if it sets up, maybe, but I don't think I'm really looking at.
And I'm sorry for throwing you the curveball here. The reason for me asking that is because I just think that we've seen what this thing can do. And I think I like the way that you left it there. If you get a really good setup, sure, you're not just going to necessarily say no, but I don't necessarily think that this should be a primary target for today. It's got no news. We've seen the shenanigans before. Let's see how it plays out. I just want to caution everybody to be careful on this one.
Let's see. I mean, it's trying to turn around here, but like I said, with the $14 to $16 area looks to be about where the price might go. Now, I could be wrong about that. It might just continue to go up. Maybe it goes up to the 23.88 high we got in the pre-market. I don't know, but I'm skeptical that this is going to really put in some big moves. But if it does, then we'll try and trade it.
Okay. Good stuff there. Let me go back to the one that I skipped here real quick. This is AIHS, Sen Meow Technology. Oh, I'm going to have fun with that. Sen Meow. I'm sure it's not pronounced exactly like that, but that's exactly how I'm going to address the stock here today. If we take a look at the news here for ticker AIHS, we don't have any news. So this is up 20% on no news. We take a look at the chart here. It did pop in the after hours. Now we retraced about 50% of that after hours move, and we're kind of sideways here. We're beneath the VWAP, where we're having some of these EMAs kind of congregate here. I don't really see any reason to trade this here. Maybe if the chart sets up, but otherwise I'll probably be looking elsewhere. Quick look around the horn on this one. Short interest of 2.12% of the float shorted with 1 day to cover. That comes on an average volume of 3.5 mil. We've done 1.45 mil here today. Float is 1.09 mil. What do you think, 13?
This is a consumer vehicle lending service, I believe. Float with almost 1.1 million. This isn't one I covered, so sorry I don't have a lot on this, but it looks like they had delayed their quarterly filing last month, and they also received a NASDAQ deficiency notice. Appears they regained, or they did end up filing, better than expected earnings, but still lost money. Let me look at the chart, see what I can find with this, because like I said, I didn't really look at this one today. I was looking at ATMV, that SPAC that's merging with AMC Robotics.
All right, we can do that next if you want. ATMV.
Yeah. So this one, this is also trading beneath its view up right now, looking to turn around and try to recapture some of these EMAs. Kind of succeeding right now with the 200, looking to recapture the 65 right now, and then the VWAP afterwards. If this continues to trade up, the resistance levels that I'm looking at are going to, of course, be that VWAP there. There's actually a resistance area. But then there's also 260. I do like 275 as a resistance area as well. So those would be the next few that I see. 290 does stand out as well. So we'll see if we end up getting any of those. I don't know what to expect of this company. I'm sure that maybe leasing vehicles or renting vehicles might be a better option for many, since buying a vehicle or leasing one might not work out for them. But anyway, I don't know how good this is going to be, but those are the levels I'd be keeping an eye on.
Okay. Really good stuff there. ET3 says, Ryan got me out here hearing Super Troopers running through my head after that pronunciation. Hey, it could be worse than Super Troopers. I can tell you that. Maybe you'll be smiling a lot of the day. That'd be pretty good. ET3. Send meow. Let's get that done right meow. I can't help it. I can't help it. It was a good one. It was a really good movie, and I like smiling a lot. So it is what it is. Okay, next here is going to be AES. This is ticker Alpha Echo Sierra. AES shares are trading higher after reports indicating BlackRock's Global Infrastructure Partners is nearing an acquisition of the company. So potential buyout here, but not done yet. BlackRock name being dropped here. You can see we did actually spike to 16, came back in. We basically traded around the VWAP for a while. We did have one breakdown, but the buyers basically took us right back to where we were, and still we kind of flirted with that VWAP. We're a little bit higher than that, but it's dragging it up right now. I do like the volume here, and I would like to obviously see this continue to expand into the regular session. Quick look around the horn on this one. 5.37% of the float shorted with 3.29 days to cover. That comes on an average 100-day volume of 12.13 million. Today we've done 10.36. Float on this one is the biggest of all of the stocks that we've looked at here today, 619 million. It is worth noting, we just kind of talked with Tim Melvin earlier a little bit on some of the trend stuff that is within Pro here. Worth noting this, all three trends. This is in a positive short, medium, and long-term trend, and its highest score here is in the growth section. 13, what do you think here of ticker AES?
So half of this company's energy generation is renewable, which is interesting considering that it's renewable energy is supposedly a scam. So BlackRock picking that up kind of flies in the face of that narrative a little bit, in my opinion. So I don't know where this could end up going today. It looks like we are actually kind of smashing the trend a little bit right now. We've started to already curl up after breaking over this trend line. If you can draw it from this chart right here, just take the high and draw it through that 720 high, and there you go. We've started to move up out of this. We could end up back testing this trend line and then going higher, but we are kind of right at the resistance areas right now. It looks like the next one could be about 1535 to 1540 if we manage to get over this $15 handle, but after that then might run up to 16 and higher. I don't know where this ends up going, but if this is actually being talked about on a $38 billion acquisition, with the market cap being, well, before this move it was 9.3 billion. There could be some more room to run. You just have to kind of do the math to figure out where that would go.
Yeah. Okay. Really good breakdown there. AES. We'll see if we get a trade. Jeremy, do I look like I drink milk from a saucer? LOL.
Did you see me chasing mice?
It's been a long. This is gonna be here. There's a question about what gold tickers Lion is looking at, but could it be in the book? Meow. LOL. We're gonna keep doing that, Kenny Rogers. Well, here's what I will say. I'm willing to bet that one of the stocks he's going to mention is AEM. Just throwing it out there, maybe. Anyway. Okay. And then Jay here giving us some more stuff here. SoFi, Affirm, Upstart, they are up a bit on the ADP data, less jobs and lower rates. So this might give you some more things to look at here. I know we're kind of breaking down the movers, but Jay giving you 3 different tickers there that we often look at and trade here. So Jay, really good stuff there. Okay. One more here that I had, and maybe there's another one that you have, but it's going to be forgot. What's that? Oh, you know what? Let's do that one because I'm just going to forget about it again and be embarrassed. That was what, ATMV, right?
Yeah.
Okay. What do you got going on here, 13?
So this one was actually the one that was moving the second most behind Lithium Americas. Didn't see any news today, but there was a Form 8K filing that was on Monday that gave some interesting information. I don't know if this is going to continue to be the same redemption price as time goes on, but this company is a SPAC. It's a special acquisition company. It's merging with AMC Corporation, not the theater. It's AMC Robotics. The ticker will become AMCI once that happens. It's supposed to happen. I don't know if it's going to happen probably later this month, I would expect. I don't recall seeing the exact date, but the thing that I saw that according to a review of the trust account on September 24th is that the approximate redemption price of this stock is $12.02. So that means that if people that don't want to stick around this, that want to exercise their redemption offers, the redemption, it might not take the stock down too much. in that sense. So, maybe that doesn't end up happening, and it does end up going lower. But the redemption price being above the typical SPAC price of $10, I thought that was interesting. This trading up right now. Let me go back to the chart since I was looking at that earlier. It doesn't have the greatest volume right now, but it was up earlier, and we did have a big. It did have a big day earlier this month on the 19th. I have 24.50 marked off here in case it does somehow manage to get back up there, but it's got a lot of resistance in the 16 handle and the 18 handle prior to getting up in that direction. Just wanted to mention that because I thought it was a bit of a piece of interesting news, and it was up like 30-40% earlier this morning. So I thought it was just worth a mention there. Keep an eye on it if SPACs interest you. That's the redemption price again, 1202.
Always worth a mention, without a doubt. Let's continue to surface items that might not be readily obvious. Is that the right word, or fairly obvious? Let's keep doing that. One more that I wanted to do, then we'll take a look at Pally, which looks like it's going right now here. Pagaya, ticker PGY. Paul, Golf, Yankee. Pagaya Technology, you can see this is actually ramping pretty good. This closed, the last couple of days, this thing has really sold off. If I back out here, it gives you an idea of what kind of price action this thing has had. This thing was $44, September 19th. And really just kind of cut down here. This is what the daily chart looks like. This made a huge run from single digits where we were trading this off of the scanner. Went to 45, backed off that, but it's down here in a consolidation area right now. And it is spiking as we speak in the pre-market here. The benchmark reiterates its buy, maintains its $48 price target. So we got a good 15 points from the current price. It's obviously moving on that price target. If we take a look at what some other analysts think about this, let's see what else we got in here. We have there. Let me actually fit all of this so it's easier to see. Boop, boop, and then we're going to do this. All right. Benchmark has a $48 price target. B. Riley has a $54 price target. And I'll make sure that these dates are all current. JPM has a $35 price target, and Canaccord has a $36 price target. The other two from August here were Benchmark and Keefe, Bruette, and Woods, which I'm not familiar with. They also went to 38. So Pagaya has a lot of coverage here. Price targets are either slightly above where we're at to considerably above where we're at. Stock is moving here on some volume on that. Quick look around the horn here on Pagaya. 24.18% of the float shorted. One of the higher names that we've taken a look at here today. And 3.66 days to cover. That days to cover comes on 3.8 million shares of average volume. Today we've done 1 million. Float on this is slightly over 45. 13, I know you probably didn't cover this one, but do you have any thoughts here on ticker PGY, which we've traded on the show a number of times?
Yes, I have levels.
Gorgeous.
So we're trading under 34 right now. And if you look at a daily chart, you can see that 34 was a pretty tough resistance area back in August. And then we managed to break out of that resistance area, and it ran all the way up to just under 45. Now on the way back down, we're hitting some of those. It was hitting some of those levels as support and losing them. The most standout one that I see right now for me is this area between 34 and 35. So that's going to be a pretty tough area, in my opinion, for this stock to get back up to. Now, the float isn't, triple digit large. It's I have it as 57 million. What do you? I was in my broker. What is this here in Pro? What is it saying? It's
45 million float.
Okay, so still it's it's about the same. It's not too heavy, not too light, but could still be moved around. Now I'm seeing that there is a pretty good size spread happening here right now of about 30 cents at least. So if you are going to try and trade this one, be very careful with it. But I see 34 to 35 as the next resistance area that we're going to have to get through, and it's going to have to be I think better volume than what we've been. Volume has been kind of okay leading into the open, but it's going to need to be better than that to get through 34 to 35, in my opinion.
Okay, good stuff there. PGY, we'll see $34. That look at this 13. I went ahead and plotted that $34 resistance level from the daily chart, just as you outlined. And when we go back to the 5-minute chart, look at the price action. Just amazing how that stuff works. Really good stuff there. The other one I really quickly wanted to mention, I know we're less than a minute till we open here, is going to be Pally. This started to run while we were doing our breakdown here. Palisade Bio shares are trading lower after the company, after the company priced a $120 million public offering at 171 million shares at 70 cents. All right, so the stock ran from 75 cents up to about $1.30. We're holding here at about $1.05. We'll see if this can hang on to $1 here today. And the short interest here on Pally, 5.47%.
And we have about 20 seconds left, actually, until we open. AES did move over the trend line. It still hasn't gotten a good amount of volume yet. Running into the sideways consolidation from the pre-market here. So going to have to keep an eye on that to see if it breaks through it. If we do, then we should have some pretty good trades on our hands with AES. There was another one I was waiting to. Okay, so Resolve AI, that one also tried. Here we are open. That one also tried to break over the trend line. It was rejected. So this might end up coming down, and certainly there it goes.
Yep, RZLV. That literally happened as you were saying it. My question here on Resolve: where is the buy spot if this holds? Right? Is the dip buyable down here, 580?
You got the 65 EMA coming up next. That's going to be at 569. Yeah, 570, 569. And just beneath it, you have support from the pre-market area just beneath that too. So I'd say that area around the 65 EMA, you're probably going to find some support. Don't know if we're going to get a reversal and start trading back up, but at the very least, it should see some temporary support there, maybe even a short-term bounce. So here we are. We're coming around right to it. Let's see if we end up getting it or if we continue to knife through. Man, what a big pull in Resolve AI. Yeah,
that was a pull right off the open. I mean, look, I'm glad we covered this, and I'm glad we watched it off the open.
And Lithium Americas with the pull too. Looks like GLXG, that one actually about to break its trend. So this one may end up getting going here. We'll see. RZLV, we just talked about that one. EPSM, that one's lower. AIHS, that one's lower. All these kind of coming in. PGY, wow, big drop. So those areas of resistance really kicking in early here.
Yeah, no question about it. Looks like kind of a nasty pull right out of the open in a lot of the names that we were taking a look at. Let's take a look at the market too. Actually, market trading up. So it looks to be some of these smaller movers that were really kind of tough. S&P, NASDAQ, and Dow all screaming higher now. CJET, this was a penny stock. This had some news earlier about an MOU with institutional investors, expanded private placement. Penny stock, I'll pass on that. That's CJET. Sorry, 13, what'd you want to look at?
Well, I was just going to mention, there was a almost shutdown last year in 2024 during the last administration. But prior to that, we did have I think it was a 35-day shutdown from 2018 to 2019, December to January, prior to COVID. That was the last shutdown that we had. And
that was also the longest one, by the way.
It was also the longest one, yeah. And if you look at the price action that happened during that time, the day of the shutdown or the first trading day after the shutdown, because I think it happened on a Saturday over the weekend, and then we had Monday.
Yep.
So the stocks ended up trading lower, closed lower, and that was the low for a good period of time. The day of the shutdown was a buyable dip last time, that 35-day, and everything kind of went up after that, up into COVID, where everything got hammered back down. So just something to keep in mind here. There could be some buyable dips maybe, but I'm just kind of using what happened last time as a guide.
Yeah, and 13, I'm glad that you did, because in my opening segment here today, one of the things that I did is I covered a story that talked about a lot of this, to be quite honest with you. I had a lot of stats on this, and actually here. So real quick, I'm just going to run through a couple of stats. Interrupt me if you have something here. Again, Kobisi letter, average length of a shutdown, 8 days. S&P has ended higher 1 year after a shutdown, 86% of the time. Average gain, 13% for 1 year after the shutdown ends. During the shutdown that you referenced there, the S&P rallied 11%. While the government shuts down, it also defers cash, and the Fed generally turns more dovish in that instance as well. So really good context there.
GLXG, sorry to interrupt you. GLXG is trying to break out of the trend. We had another one, AES. That one's going higher. It's trying to clear some of these pre-market levels out. Meanwhile, PGY, ugly broadsword. AIHS, a little bit of a knife, baby knife if you want. EPSM, that one's also coming down. Looks like 901 from the low from yesterday. Could be a support area. RZLV,
RZLV with an unbelievable bounce. I was actually able to scalp this one while you were going off like a king, but I'm out of this now, and this actually looks like this is going to try and turn. Tell you what, buying that dip and not waiting for the breakout seems to be the move to go there. I know we haven't seen Tuna yet, but he'd be proud. LAC was the other one that we were watching.
I was just going to say, that one down to the 200, trying to get some support and looking to recapture 7. This could also potentially reverse, but we need to see this candle close above 7, in my opinion.
Okay, perfect. Really good stuff there. Kevin mentioning that Apple is rocking here out of the open. Indeed. So I actually saw that here out of the corner of my eye with the rest of the market moving higher. Look at Apple screaming higher after being 252 support here in the pre-market. Looking pretty good there. Do see some call flow here, but that's call flow for this week too. So that's absolutely a short-term trade there. 257.5, the strike on those.
I don't remember. So now that we're in October, I have to remember to say last month, but I don't exactly remember what day it was last month. I'm trying to scroll through to see what it was. But looking at DraftKings price action, I'm really wishing we had taken a closer look at it when there we go. DraftKings could be a great put options trade. I said that September 18th. Oh, man. Sometimes the best ones are the ones you don't take. I
was going to say, you know what? Now that, especially now with hindsight here, I'm disappointed I didn't take that here because look at that, dude. What an idea there. What an idea there on that.
And it was, and a lot of that had to do with, not just the chart, but this whole thing with prediction markets coming into play and that just, really eating into DraftKings revenue. So, This ended up working out exactly how I thought it would. Just didn't end up taking the trade, unfortunately.
That's how it goes. AES, by the way, on that trend line break, we actually back tested it and kept running. We're actually above that pre-market consolidation. That reminds me here because one of the things that we wanted to see was on LAC. Well, you know what? I stupidly put that on another chart. Let me go ahead and add the same drawing that I had here. I had this range about right here. And I was like, hey, if we break out of this and we back test it, that'll give us a pretty good trade. Well, we didn't do any back testing. We basically just did plunging. Now we're down here. We'll see if we get this 200 EMA on ticker LAC. That value 688. Stock is currently flirting with the $7 handle.
And some of these names are bouncing. Like you're getting a bounce in PGY, although I don't think that's necessarily one that you'd want to buy to ride it to the upside. This looks like it's going to bounce and potentially go lower. AES, as you're mentioning, that went up to the pre-market level at 445. We haven't quite hit the pre-market high out of the gate, which was just shy of 16, but certainly could still get there. EPSM, that continues lower. Resolve AI, actually we moved through the trend line, and now we're back testing it. Actually, we're trading just beneath it right now. Need to see this candle close above it in order for this to reverse and continue higher. And then Lithium America is also getting a bounce off of the 200 EMA, trying to recapture VWAP in the process. And that's about all I'm looking at right now.
I'll tell you what, as far as the setup goes, I kind of like LAC here. I'm not in it, just to be clear. I'm not in it here. I would really love for it to test the 688. I do kind of think just with some of the news here today, there's probably a bounce in this. It would be a day trade only. And then I think Zach was mentioning this earlier. I don't know if we covered it, and I'm sorry if that's the case. Wedbush maintains neutral $8 price target, ticker LAC.
All right. HIIA. I'm sorry, HII. Huntington Ingalls. That's one that I think Robert has been playing for a while.
Yeah.
This was a kind of a good play going into some of those South Korea negotiations that were happening earlier this year because they are a big shipbuilder, and if there was going to be some kind of partnership with them, that this would be one of the ones. There's a number of other companies I had a whole shipbuilding list.
He said ship, by the way, guys.
Yeah. I'll yeah. But yeah, so HII, great company, great for, it's, of course, as you were saying, it's the direct play on the Navy fleet expansion. Yep.
D-Pro here, Kathy. Kathy, you're sharp every morning here. You're always spotting some of these things that are moving. D-Pro at the top end of the pre-market range. Remember, this had a huge move yesterday on a U.S. Army contract for Dragonfly. We're also gonna. I talked about trying to get the CEO on here, Zoltan, getting it done like he always does. We're gonna have an interview for you with Dragonfly CEO next week. Stay tuned for that if you're interested in Deep Row. Yeah.
Tennis's Life and Chester are both mentioning HCTI.
Let me bring it up.
This thing is moving right now. They had some news this morning. The Quantum Nexus EMR platform surpasses 20 million in processed revenue. And they say the total revenue processed through the platform by end users projected to surge from 20 million to 37 million over the next 6 months. That's some pretty good news here. This also was recently undergoing NASDAQ compliance. They got it on September 15th. This also has a short interest of 17.2 with 1.45 days to cover. So not completely the kind of short interest we're looking for with the days to cover, but still noteworthy. The float just shy of 6 million. So we could see some movement here. Let me look at the chart and see where this may end up going.
Real quickly here, LAC did hit that 688. We'll see if we get a bounce here. I'll be honest, I did take a little bit here at 688. I'm going to be quick on the draw, though. This thing really kind of falls beneath 680, and I'll just cut this and move on to the next. Otherwise, if we bounce here, looking for at least one scalp on this here. This actually a big seller there at 684. Ooh, and they took it. That almost makes me wonder if they're going to have more buying interest now that huge seller just got eaten. We'll see. LAC.
HCTI does look like 350 is a tough resistance area looking at the daily chart, but there are some gaps to be filled on the way up here. Now it's not going to be until it gets into the 5 handle we start seeing the gaps, but there is some resistance areas that we can keep an eye on. $4 actually let's call it 415. That looks like that could be the next resistance area if it manages to get over the 4 handle. And then after that, I kind of like $5, maybe just shy, like 475 to $5 is the next resistance area after that. And then we can start talking about the 65 daily EMA and a gap fill.
Okay. LAC did break beneath 680. I stayed in it because it looks like it's trying to bounce. I hope I don't regret this. Again, this is just small. This is just kind of fun trading here. If it really plunges, there we go. All right. Any more here? We're going to probably cut this on LAC. I need to see a bounce. This thing has been nothing but weak from the open. We'll see if we get any type of firm up here. Got to happen really soon. Otherwise, I'm running for the exit on it.
Yeah, I think you're probably going to get some better support coming down around 640.
Okay, but then I'll reassess then. I am out. 1 for 2 here today. Hit resolve, lost on LAC. We're flat now.
Yeah, this didn't really have a great setup, especially with the rejections happening at $8. You look at this, the after hours and the pre-market price action. It has a lot of topping out hallmarks. Kind of almost like it was trying to form a bit of a head and shoulders, but it's kind of wonky. So we are getting that resolution of that $8 resistance area, keeping buyers from taking this thing higher. So I do like that 640 area, $6. It's like $6 to 640. Somewhere in there, I think is going to be the support that you're.
I'm going to keep an eye on this because, again, just like I said at the outset, I think this is going to be on deck for a majority of the day here. But I'm not looking to hold any more any of that. I can always rebuy it. Lion saying, "Give it time." Lion, I can always rebuy.
And Morning Smoke Tuna, he's saying LAC support at 670. So
and
right
we're
here,
right there. We are right there. I got a little bounce back up. I got filled there at 678. On the way out. BMNR getting mentioned. That's been another big mover. We'll see. Keep an eye. If you're interested in LAC, maybe keep an eye on that and see where it actually finds up the support.
GLXG breaking the trend line. Yep. This one finally getting going here.
Oh, let me add this to this chart here. I think you put it right through here, right?
Yep. Yeah, see that's breaking out. Yep. Exactly. So let's see with these other ones. So PGY, this looks like it's setting up to go lower, in my opinion. We're going to consolidate right where it's about right now with this other stuff. It's going to try and push higher. I think 3250 might be the rejection site, but if it starts closing over the VWAP, maybe it does turn around. It looks to me like this could still go lower though towards the 65 EMA on the 5 minute.
Okay. This is trying to bounce here. We'll see if it has any more strength to continue that. UAMI got mentioned earlier here today. This is United States Antimony. This made a huge move out of the open, pulled back, but it's holding higher above the, that's above the 9 EMA. It's actually just beneath my VWAP there.
So we started talking about this one like when China was cutting off antimony to the U.S. Like this was like something they were doing last September. It was like September 15th was that deadline, and I believe the stock was like trading around $2 or $3 at the time. It might even be less than that. This thing has gone on a massive run over the past year. This has probably been a really, really good move. And speaking of good moves, Smoked Tuna with an absolutely killer reversal spot. He said 670. That's exactly where LAC.
LAC, how about that?
Great call.
Let's see if we can get some more juice here on LAC. We can claw back that little loss that I took on it on the way back down. Billy here saying 685, the 90 MA on the 4-hour chart. That looks like a pullback area. See if we can get back above the 688. Feels like it's using it as resistance here. Level 2 looks okay. Time and sales looks okay too. See if we can get back above that.
So right now we are looking at LAC and GLXG having some pretty good moves for the moment.
Here is your GLXG. You think we get to that 542 on GLXG?
Let's see here. Well, I would say we need to get past 415 first.
Okay.
That seems to be the current big resistance area.
415?
515.
I was going to say.
If you look at just draw a line at 515, and you'll see how the price action from this morning has interacted with that level. That looks like that was a support area, and that lost it at 705. Hasn't been able to really recapture it since then. So now we're back up here. I think that's the level we need to get above.
Okay, there we go. Yes, it does.
All right.
Yes, it does. Ondas just did a red to green. That's always good to see. Been around here for anything else that might be going on.
XIII looking
to bring it up
to make its next move through VWAP here. We just put in a high of 372. Need to see some better volume on this, but if we get that expansion, I'd be looking for a move through beyond 372 through VWAP here. To have better volume. It needs to trade like several million. We haven't hit a million in this candle yet. We do have 3 minutes 40 seconds left, so we're going to see several million traded in this candle to take it up there.
UPXI, this is Upexi. This is going on really good volume. Did we have news on this one?
Lithium America is losing or coming back down to that 670 level for a second test of support.
UPXI, I don't see anything fresh on this one. Here's that GLXG. That is still flirting with that same area. Let's take a look at Lithium of Americas. I'm not sure that the selling is done there on that one. You guys are mentioning DPro. Now, here we go. Let's see if we retest some of those lows there in LAC. Little bit of a bounce there if you're able to take that there, but I was worried about some more weakness here. Lower we go now. 670 is broke. We'll see where that ends up bottoming out. We'll have time. Here's DPro.
AHS, this one's getting some a little bit of volume, trying to push up through some of these EMAs. I get the sense that 250, 255 might be the toughest area for AIHS if it manages to get up there. But we are moving through some of these EMAs right now.
Okay, I've got 252 as the VWAP. Was that the same level that you had, 252, 252?
Yeah, I think so.
For AIHS, yep. Okay, perfect. Aura says stopped out of LAC. It's been brutal on the stops. Here's the thing, though. Again, I'm not so worried about getting stopped out for a small loss. Remember, we actually just had Tim Melvin telling us this morning that small losses are okay. I'm not so upset about that. I actually think that we might get another opportunity here on LAC. So I think it's important. Maybe keep that on the back burner. I've got it on another screen here. So I'll try and claw that back there. See what else do we have that's moving. That DPro move looks pretty good. That is continuing here. 950 looks to be a resistance area here on DPro.
I looked at this one yet this morning. Let's see what we got here. Yeah, that candle from yesterday, 955.
Yeah, yeah. It looks to it's exactly 955. It looks like it's kind of peaking above 950 and coming back in. But yeah, that same area there.
Yeah, I think if you look at what happened toward the end of 2023, beginning of 2024, those are going to be the resistance areas to watch for. And it looks like the big one is going to be at about $10.
Okay.
Hold on a second.
Uh-oh, he must see something in the charts, folks. I'm trying to load the plug power chart here.
Yeah, I was just kind of hold on a second, wait a minute. Yeah, I was just trying to check and see if that was a SPAC, because every time that you have a lot of interesting price action around $10, particularly if you get like sideways consolidation for a while, I kind of go and look and see if it was a SPAC, just to get a better understanding of what the stock is. All right, what are we looking at now?
I, for whatever reason, can't resolve the plug chart. And it's not a pro problem because I resolved the other charts without issue. But I think someone, oh, here we go. And maybe it was just a little hiccup there. Plug, what a shame, too. Plug ripping to the highs here.
Yep. Yeah, it certainly is. Making its way towards the last time it went up on a run here, this high of from the 23rd of September. 316 was the high that day in the regular session. Interestingly, we also had that be the same area where it was topping out back in January. And also it was the same area it was topping out in July of the last year, too. So we're coming up to, we were back on the 23rd, we were coming up to a bit of a resistance area that, if we continue to trade up here, we're going to hit it again. Now, the more times we hit this resistance area, the more likely that we are to start trading above it. So I'd be watching for that break over. We need to get above that September 23rd one, but it looks to me like the 330, 335 area is the big area of resistance for plug.
And here's the news on plug. It delivered its first electrolyzer. Yeah, I got that right. Electrolyzer for 100 milliwatts of green hydrogen project at XIII's refinery. So the 10 milliwatt module is the first of 10 units to be deployed at that refinery for a total capacity of 100 milliwatts. One of the very few projects underway in Europe at this scale. So there you go.
That's definitely megawatts.
Oh, did I say milliwatts? I'm sorry. I'm really sorry about that. I screw that up more often than I should, honestly. I appreciate that.
Well, milliwatts
LAC, new lows. LAC, new lows. We got to wait for that to bottom. I do think there will be a trade there still, but we got to be patient on the bottoming process.
Any thoughts on CJET? I will look at CJET.
CJET is a penny stock that had a news catalyst here today about an MOU with institutional investors for expanding a private place offering.
Interesting.
Kenny Rogers says, why are we boycotting Netflix? I'm not a Netflix subscriber, and I fully accepted the fact that I will have to subscribe this winter for at least a month to watch some of the football games. I don't know that there's any boycott.
So wouldn't an expanded...
Oh, Elon Musk was calling for his followers to cancel their Netflix subscriptions. I don't know if that's going to do anything. Anyway, sorry, 13.
Wouldn't the expanded private placement implies that there is some real interest in this company? I mean, just kind of wondering if anybody
that's how I would read it. Yeah.
But here's the thing. This is an EV company in China, and that is a very, very large playing field. A lot of those companies are not going to make it. I think I'd be very skeptical about this. I don't know. This might be one of the ones that just doesn't end up making it. Maybe BYD, maybe NIO will. I mean, but there's like over 160 EV companies in China, and most of them are not going to be around in the next 5 to 10 years.
I agree with that. Daytrader says CJET is a DAT. I don't think I know the lingo there. Kathy, plug out 267 on that huge pump up, holding 15% of the shares. Kathy, well done on that trade here. You will also get a register ring as well.
Well done.
I need my NFL, Ryan. You look, so do I. And I don't have someone famous calling for a boycott isn't going to do it. For me, it's not going to stop me from buying either. I'm telling you right now, you determine if this is a catalyst. I'm telling you right now, I am definitely going to buy Netflix this winter.
Yeah, sometimes boycotts work, sometimes they don't. Sometimes they don't work when you're trying to boycott against American Eagle and Sydney Sweeney, but they do work when you change Cracker Barrel and take all the character away. So sometimes they work, sometimes they don't.
But I guess my issue with that whole trade, regardless of the specific example, is that I just feel like that just kind of changes with the wind too much. I don't know. Not my favorite catalyst, I guess, is how I would leave it at that.
All right, let's see here with these movers. Still
digital asset treasury. Oh, day trader, I'm actually mad at myself. I should have known that. We've talked about that so effing much. I should have known. Thank you, though. Thank you for answering the question.
So GXLG, we were still trading beneath the VWAP, but we were kind of going sideways, and we're above the trend line. We need to see more volume in this if we're going to go higher. Resolve AI, speaking of trend lines, this has not been able to resolve above it yet. We did get a pop and then a big old knife down to the 65 EMA where we were getting support. Now we need to recapture the VWAP. We need to see more volume on this one as well. AIHS, that one just had a nice little move up to 258, but was rejected. AES, this candle that we're currently in, this might move up towards 1520. But if we get the volume, it just kind of looks like this might be trading in a map hold position. So we'll see if we end up getting there. Again, volume needs to happen with this one as well.
No question.
And HCTI, this has been trying to push above and get hold above VWAP for the past 20 minutes. Maybe this current candle we're in is the one that does it, that where we actually get a close above it. We just started this candle, so we have another 4.5 minutes left. Dragon Deep Pro, that continues to climb.
And Ondas continues to climb too. I wonder how all of the drone stocks are doing. I know Deep Pro's got some fresh news there. Let me just check RCAT real quick. RCAT about flat.
Yeah, Plug hit 270, getting a little bit of some selling right now. Lithium Americas back over 270 again. The low was 658.
So let's talk about something here real quick.
Okay.
13, I'm curious to know how, I had said earlier, I know I'm using one of my examples and I'm asking you about it. I had said earlier, let's wait for LAC to confirm that the bottom is in, at least temporarily here. What do you use for that? Like, for example, if this recaptured 687 and the candle closed above it, would that be enough for you? What else would you need to see to be like, you know what, the bottom's probably not in. Maybe I didn't hit the bottom, but there's still a trade to the upside here.
Yeah, I need to see some actual bottoming out. Like there's gonna be certain candles that indicate that I would want to. I mean, I think I would at the very least ease in if I feel like it's turning around and take the big position once we've recaptured, like let's say VWAP. $7, in my opinion, really need to get above that, or else this is just gonna go lower on us. So I think if I was gonna start to load up some more, I would need to see that $7 level get recaptured.
Okay, I like that a lot. And you said something else in there that I think is really important that I neglected to mention. When you're trading some of these bottom reversals, these stocks that are pulling, I really like what you said there about perhaps scaling in, at least lowering your position size on that initial entry. Because if it does end up going lower very quickly, you want to keep that a small loss. Like we had a little discussion earlier about small losses. You want to keep that small. So that's good stuff there, 13.
Got to see the reversal candles. Got to see the volume expand. Got to see these levels get recaptured. You start getting a lot of that, then it gives me more confidence in the trade.
Jay Rice saying the Godfather got it wrong on DPro. He said the CEO was a promoter. Jay, I've got some news for you here. If you guys want to make your own decision on the DPro CEO, I think we're going to have him on for an interview next week. So you'll be able to make your own decision on that. We'll be able to see. LAC here does look like it's trying to recapture that, 200 EMA at 687. Yeah. One of the other things, just to kind of answer my own question that I asked you, one of the things that I would really like to see here is the volume start to expand now that the bottom, quote unquote, has been put in. If we see that, I'd feel real good about getting above this level and possibly trying to claw back some of the money I lost on that first day trade to the downside here.
So now we're kind of running into this resistance at VWAP and the 200 EMA. We're going to need more volume to get through those.
Yep, and I actually have VWAP at 719, so it's actually higher than that. Pally's getting a mention here as we had new highs as this bounced off what looks like the 9 EMA, rocketed through the VWAP. This big volume candle, this is exactly what I was just describing that I want to see on LAC. We get a volume candle like this, tells me maybe those sellers are exhausted and we have an upside trade to take here. Pally's doing that for you right now.
and Resolve AI trying to recapture this VWAP here, because if we do, then I think we can get another break above that trend line. But volume's going to tell the whole story here with this one as well. There's not just the VWAP and the trend line, but you also have the 9 and the 15 EMAs as well to get through. And this is, we're coming up to the area where the sellers, we're really starting to put pressure on the stock going into the open, and then we had that knife. So this is going to need some more volume to get back up through all these EMAs. So just something to watch for with this one. It doesn't look like it's really doing it right now, but as soon as you see it, it might. It's going to certainly come up to 605, 610 and get resistance. But if volume continues to expand, should be able to break through it.
Okay, real quick here. Izzy scalped Amazon, so the universe is in order and everyone's okay. The sun did come up as well. Ryan, please look at ACAN. That's AKAN. This is up 41%. Ooh, look at Aconda here. And you know what? This is on some good volume. This started running after the open. Did we have anything else here?
This is a cannabis name.
ACAN discusses the Altan Reed's $7 billion project. This came right at 8 a.m. Acanda's first towers and fiber taps into Mexico's $7 billion telecom build-out. Okay, so I can understand why this is going higher here. 30 towers and 700 kilometers of fiber.
What? What is? I don't understand what this is. So they're talking about fiber optics, right?
Correct. It is. Yeah, this is weird though.
Fiber optic company. It's in the industry of pharmaceuticals, and the description down here is talking about
cannabis. Let me hang on a sec. Let me see if I can.
What is this company? All right, so while you're looking at that, because this thing looks like it just came out of a halt, unless it was just a massive gap up all of a sudden. Aconda.
So Aconda has a whole 100% owned subsidiary, First Towers and Fiber, FTF, and that's what the news is about there. That's why this stock is responding.
Wow, they're quite diversified, aren't they?
Yeah, I was just going to say, I'm not sure about the synergies there, but nonetheless, stock is liking it here today. Let me get back to the chart. Good morning, Nikolai, Tenzin. Anyone else that I might have missed? Mama Bear, saw you earlier there.
Company doesn't appear to be losing as much money lately as it has in the past, but still doesn't have enough revenue to make it profitable. And it's still losing money at a rate that is making me think they're going to have to raise capital here pretty soon. I'd have to scan around and see if there's any news on that, or if they're planning on any. Okay, so here we go. Last month, they secured a 12 million convertible note offering. So I'd have to read into that. I don't see any other news as far as funding goes. They did a 1 for 3.125 reverse split on August 26th. And they then they completed their acquisition of First Towers and Fiber Corp. So that acquisition that they had is a month old. And there is a Form S here, but I don't think that's for them.
This is now halted to the upside here at 787. LAC, by the way, really struggling to make any type of ground getting above that 200 EMA that we talked about at 688.
Yeah, AKN, and this thing is a super low float too. So let's see where this could end up going here.
It is halted here. Smoke Tuna says 10.
I certainly think 875 is in the cards. Certainly think that. 10, you said?
Smoke Tuna says 10 if momentum continues.
I can see that too. I mean, if momentum continues, we might get more than 10, to be honest. I could see 10 if momentum continues. I think I would just, go with the first, level that I see, which is going to be 875. That's the 200-day EMA.
Cheers, Nick. Good morning. Good to see you. Gilly Whopper. Good morning. They're making fiber weed. LOL.
Oh man, can you imagine if marijuana was used to make fiber optic cables? I don't know how that's going to work, but
I do not.
that'd be That'd be phenomenal.
Fiber optic cables likely wouldn't have glaucoma, which I guess that could work. NUKK here, by the way. This is Lions, I guess, and also the Three Stooges, right? Nook. Anyway, yep. NUKK here, this ripping out of the gate on some pretty good volume. This hitting a high here of 850. Honestly, Lion, I'm not going to chase this here. If you were in this, that was pretty good. I'd actually be selling into this move higher. We had a PR here that mentions multiple stocks. Let's see. What do we have here?
Some of these have some really good
mention NUKK.
They're just missing that volume element. Like D-Pro, this looks like this is going to make a new high here after getting support from VWAP. We need to see the volume to match. AES, this looks like it wants to break over the 1540 high that we made. But again, we just need some more volume. AIHS, kind of the same thing, wants to break the high, need more volume. So all these have some, like a lot of these have some really good setups here, but we're just missing that volume component that we need to see.
And the market hasn't figured out what it's going to do. Remember, the first time we talked about it, the market was trading higher. Bharat mentioned that the market was selling off. It did indeed reverse that entire move higher, but it stopped, and now it's going back towards the highs. So market's still trying to figure out what it's going to do here as well. Supri wants to take a look at Open. That was one of our recent trades that we've looked at on a daily basis, as well as traded multiple times, to be quite honest with you. Here's what Open looks like, up about 3.5%. I'll be honest, the area that I'm looking at is going to be 840. 840 was an intraday high area from yesterday. We'll see if that goes.
Let me look at the one thing here, because I was that whole take on the broader market on SPY that I was mentioning on Monday and Happy Hour. That was so great, great for TQQQ trading. Because I was saying that at all. I had mentioned that yesterday we were going to open beneath the prior day's close and then close above it and near the all-time highs, and we pretty much did exactly that.
And that was exactly it. I love it when that happens.
There was because I was citing the pattern that we were kind of repeating. And, if we're going to continue repeating it, we're going to likely get a matching candle today to the downside. So let's see how we're looking today with that. It doesn't look like it's going to end up materializing that we're going to get a matching candle. We would have to have opened up near the close yesterday. So we may consider this a bit of a break in the pattern, but we are having a hard time getting above 665. So as far as the SPY goes, I think that's going to be an important level to watch for.
NUAI, this up at the top end of the pre-market range per WIS. Faloona mentioning VVPR for early entry here.
And what do we think of ACAN? That's halted to the upside, waiting for that to
yeah, that's still halted, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep. And looks like Lithium America is still trying to get above VWAP. It continues to get rejected at there and the 200 EMA, both in that same area.
Now, what I will say here is I think Zach might be onto something here. Zach is saying that it appears to be finding a bottom. Yeah, it could be. I think if we really kind of set some new lows, perhaps the bottom's not in. Again, what I want to see here, a move above this 688. I know we peaked above it briefly, really couldn't hold above it. A move above that would be great. Better still if it came on some corresponding volume.
Yep. That's what we need.
That's exactly it. We'll see if we get that here on LAC. BIND, that's Beyond Meat, BYND. This is pretty much straight up. I don't know what the catalyst here. You guys all know my opinion on Beyond Meat. Not necessarily on my radar, but a good move here nonetheless. Lion ringing the register on NUKK. That will work. Kathy mentioning AIIO, which has been another recent runner that we have traded here. Let's take a look at that. That's Robo AI. This is up near 280. Let's see if this can go any higher. ACAN is open.
Sorry, I was just looking into why we were getting all this wild price action this week from Beyond Meat.
ACAN's going to halt here again, I think.
Looks like the company's just going through a debt restructuring.
ACAN halted again here, this time 819, your halt price.
Holy cow.
ACAN, this is the mover of the day here so far.
Yep. Where does this go? Still looking for that 875. Still looking for it.
Yep.
And smoked tunas. I think it was smoked tuna, right? It was looking for 10.
Smoke Tuna said that this could go to 10 if the momentum continues. And I'll be honest, so far, doesn't look like that momentum has abated yet.
We have D Pro that's looking to push through the session high of 941. Seller in the way at 938.
Go D Pro here. Looks like that's going to try and go for that 950 there. Lion wants to take a look at Merck. I know you were talking about that a couple of days. Here's what Merck looks like today. Had a good day yesterday, some continuation here today. Let's see what the daily chart looks like here on Merck. Looking like we're at a resistance level right here. 88 looks to be that resistance level. We'll see if it takes that out. Lion, do you have an upside price target on this? Are you looking for this to maybe go back to 100, or is there a particular moving average that you're targeting here? Let us know.
So probably moving with the Pfizer news from earlier this week, with the drug maker plans that the White House has, and to decrease prices.
Merck to hold third quarter 2025 sales and earnings conference call on October 30th. They basically, the only news here is that they're confirming their earnings report.
Yeah.
It does look like here, per the news, that this is tied to the Trump outlining the plan for the next round of Medicare drug price talks. Yeah.
Yeah. That seems to be
yes, sir.
Moving on.
So, okay, I think the bottom is in on Merck. What are you looking for an upside target, just really quick? JJ, let me try and get you that ACAN float. I can never remember these float figures, and I'm so worried about quoting them incorrectly. I've got 730K as your float. Thank you, all that glitters.
That's a great name.
I do love it. I do love. I'll say something else. I've spent a lot of time on Twitch and YouTube over the course of my life. The folks here with some of these handles are just phenomenal. They're really, really good. I mean, even Smoked Tuna, like that is I've mentioned Smoked Tuna's name around the company here at some meetings, especially when we were trying to talk about posting wins and all of that. And universally liked that handle. Universally liked, it seems. ACAN still halted here. Okay, so it looks like the signals are actually catching up there. Great. I should be able to give you some better estimations on that time. GLXG, we kind of traded sideways through that trend line that you had outlined there, 13. We were really not able to get above the 515 area, which was that next resistance spot. And then we have 539 as the VWAP above that. So still some range to the upside if we can keep doing that.
Yeah, and we have D-Pro was trying to get up to, over the high of 941, getting rejected still, but kind of more sideways price action. Looks like HCTI and PGY are also trying to turn around as well. Both are beneath their VWAP. And then not seeing much of anything else. I am keeping an eye on GLXG. It's been, like you said, kind of sideways here, but if we can start closing above the VWAP, we might be able to get up and hold above $5.
Okay, TEM getting a mention. Let's take a look. This is Tempest. This has been a great trade for us in the past here. Tempest is having a really good move here today after a pretty strong move yesterday as well. Let me see if there was any fresh news on this. Up 5% here. Nothing fresh. We have this the CEO selling about 332,000 shares at 76.56. This stock is 8 points higher than that. I'm not sure that's really doing anything. TEM here, nice 5% move today.
And, we keep mentioning these healthcare names, and not a sector that's really performed that well this year. So I'm kind of anticipating that next year is going to be better. It's not a sector that typically underperforms the S&P 500. So
TEM here, if this continues its upside, we have a trend line that has really been great going back to July of last year on TEM. That gives me a target of about $91 if it continues. That's TEM.
D-Pro, this might go here. Looking to break the high of 941. Need a little bit more volume, but it's looking like we're going to test that high print today.
Yeah, Jay here mentioning TM. That's Trump's comments on AI in the medical field. That's what we're referring to there. Thank you, Jay. D-Pro here. Very interesting about this spot that you're talking about, 13, because this is really close to yesterday's intraday high as well. Now, I got to think we probably go there and test that right away. ACAN looks like that has resumed now.
All right, new session highs, D-Pro.
Yep. ACAN is open. That tapped 9.
HCTI still trying to turn around, not looking great with the volume though, and I think the resistance is, kind of around 325 is going to be a bit of a tough spot for HCTI if we continue with this kind of volume. AES, this is also moving up. I see a seller in the way at 1520. That's going to provide some resistance. That's about where the highs of the last high of the regular session was before we the pre-market session before we opened here. Lithium Americas back above 680.
D-Pro 959 now. So D-Pro did start to explode a little bit there. This is right at yesterday's intraday high.
Nice. This thing go.
I have no position in this one.
All right, let's see where this may run to.
Size there at 963, and they're hitting it.
Yeah, I think this is when I still like the 10 to 1040 area as resistance. So we'll see if that's ends up happening. 40 cents away from that resistance area I'm looking at.
Also seeing some D-Pro calls here. These are the 750 calls for January. Almost wonder if that's kind of a profit taking. We're 2 points above that.
AES, still watching that one. This may also get going here too. Just need to get that component of volume going because the setup doesn't look too bad right now. Also a couple of sellers in the way, 10, 15, 10, 20. I'm sorry, 15, 10, 15, 20. ACAN is open. 918 is still the high. Matter of fact, to hit that trend line, or I'm sorry, the 200 EMA on the daily.
There's some new highs briefly right there on ACAN.
Yep, 922. We want to see this hold above 875. Now it's coming back beneath it. So far that 200 EMA is providing resistance, but I'm not discounting this yet. I'm not saying it's done. Still think that we could hit that $10 mark.
Okay, good stuff there on ACAN. D-Pro 970, your high there. And actually, 13, I'm going to leave ACAN on the screen because it's popping right now, but I'll be right back.
All right. And just going to look around here at some of these other ones. Looks like Resolve AI is going to resolve lower. This looks like it's going to come down to 560 where there could be support, but I think it's still going to lose it there. Next area I would see where this gets support at is probably going to be the 200 EMA on the 5-minute, which is down around 545. That's kind of the next spot I think that we'll see for resistance. Let me just draw a trend line there. That actually looks really good. So there might be a possible reversal coming with RZLV if we hit that 200 EMA that I have at 545. We'll see if we end up getting that. And Lithium America is still trying to recapture the VWAP and the 200 EMA on the 5-minute. $7 also a resistance area. Not looking too bad. Just need to see that volume expand some more. When Ryan comes back, I'll get into Intel, Mr. Reeds. Hopefully that's all right with you. Pounding the table on Vuzi. Tom, you're saying Vuzix. What's going on here with Vuzix? They are up 18% on what is the news? The buy rating. Don't see anything else today. Looks like there was some other news earlier in the month in September. OEM defense program based with new 6-figure waveguide development order from a leading U.S. defense contractor. Interesting. So that's VUZI.
Now,
they hold on. They have a short interest of 22.7% with 10 days to cover. So this is a short squeeze candidate. And we are moving. We are moving with this one right now. Great mention there, Tom B. Thank you.
So let me ask you a question here. We have news about the Meta AI Ray-Bans that's kind of fresh here. Mark Zuckerberg recently did a demonstration on that. Vuzi, although not owned by that, kind of related. Do we think that might be moving in sympathy?
It could be. I mean, one of the things that I've said for a long time about Vuzix is that this is a company that should probably be getting picked up by, Apple or somebody.
Yeah.
Intel used to own like 30% of them, but they divested. And this thing ran into a lot of cash problems, but I always thought the products were great. They've been selling them to, the consumers like you and me for a while, and they don't look that bad. I mean, the Blade glasses were pretty cool looking.
I agree with you. So real quickly here's the story. Now, I didn't get to this today because we ran out of time, but because we're talking about this, I wanted to cover a couple of things. I'll throw the article in the chat there. There were a number of things that were interesting here to me. Let me see if I can find that there. Here's the example of it. Gene Munster of Deepwater Asset Management called the glasses, these are the Meta Ray-Bans, quote, best bang for the buck. Ross Gerber said that they're a game changer. This is the part that I thought was interesting. The rollout comes as Apple develops its own smart glasses, which launch later this decade. Back in June, Ming-Chu Kuo suggested that Apple, despite its relatively slow entry, could ultimately overtake Meta in the smart glasses space. He pointed out that Apple is working on at least 7 head-mounted smart glass projects. So to your point there about maybe taking one over, maybe one of those projects is actually being worked on or looked at. Boozy, nonetheless, moving here today. Very, very clear.
Yeah, Apple is just
I know,
far behind.
I know.
Man.
I'm just reporting the news. I know exactly how you feel there, and I don't disagree with you. I mean, look, if you're hyping something that's supposed to be out later this decade, maybe you're missing the point there a little bit.
Yeah,
Just saying.
But I mean, the colossal screw up of the other headset.
The Vision Pro.
Oh my God. That was just the most embarrassing thing ever.
Yeah, that was less than
ideal.
That
went nowhere. Just a big old waste of money. I mean, to me, it's kind of amazing that Tim Cook is still CEO.
Well, I think we've talked about a Tim Cook departure likely probably being a positive catalyst for the Apple stock.
I would think so. What's your folks' thought on that? Do you think if Tim Cook was replaced, that Apple would skyrocket or what?
Actually, you know what, producer, if you're around, maybe we should do a poll around that. Apple's a pretty popular stock. We got 500 people here on YouTube alone. Maybe we'll run a YouTube poll here on that.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say the poll here. I'm thinking if Tim Cook leaves, does Apple go higher or lower? And I guess throw unsure in there for the group that doesn't like to participate.
So I did, while you were gone, I did say we would look at Intel and also Micron. Micron is moving up towards 180. Hopefully it doesn't do one there, but there is a bit of a trend line that I've got drawn based on this company making highs and then backing off. So the next area where we could see this hit that trend line is going to be up in the 180s, 183 at this stage right now. It looks to be where this could run to, and that's going to only increase as time goes on. So,
real quick here, Kathy, again, mentioning that these storage stocks, I know we talked about this last Tuesday on potential regression back to the mean trades. We have seen none of that. These continue to trade higher here, and they are the same across the board. So I started here with Micron 13 because you were talking about that, but there are other stocks that fit this same criteria. Kathy's got them all listed here. They're all higher. SanDisk, WDC, STX, all of them. Daily charts looking the same, more extension to the upside. At some point, there's going to be a regression here, but man, oh man, jumping in front of this train has not been easy. And real quick here, our chat once again has not let us down regarding the whole Tim Cook thing. Smoke Tuna, Tim Cook for the CEO of KitchenAid. Makes sense. Graph just says straight up fire that guy.
Yeah.
All that glitters. Cook is intelling Apple.
That's a wow. That's a sick burn.
Our chat was just no there.
Sick burn, dude. All that glitters is your burns too. That's great. Oh man, there was that one story that came out that remember. I don't know if it was like 2023 when this happened, but do you remember when he had made some comment and it cost the company like almost $500 million?
Yeah, I do remember. We talked about that on Happy Hour.
On a comment. Yeah, so
I can't remember what it was.
That guy needs to work on his brain mouth thing, or he just needs to be taken down. That guy has been absolutely terrible for Apple, in my opinion. Now, I understand
Pally,
that it's a $1 trillion company, but I think that's more of the customer base driving it than Tim Cook.
Pally here, this looks like maybe we're going to retest 140 there on Pally.
And then as far as Intel goes, I don't know if this is going to continue to climb higher, but it does have a really good looking setup off the support from the 500-day SMA. It looks like it's bull flagging. So if we are going to get a resolution, we're certainly heading higher than 36. My resistance area that I have is going to be between 40 and 41 at this stage. That's based off the trend line that's I drew from all the way back from when we double topped in April of 2021. So that could be the next area, about $40-$41 that we could find the real big resistance that turns us around. But it looks like this could continue higher. I just not sure if we're going to get that in the first half of this month or later on. And we are entering a bit of a dangerous environment with the shutdown. So we'll I don't know if this is going to go higher right away, but I'm looking for this to resolve this this formation to go higher.
Okay. All right. Good stuff there. Let's see. What else do we have going on here? You guys are mentioning, several of you are mentioning QS. That's just ripping here. I don't see a trade set up on a stock that's ripping to the highs.
Plug is flirting with the session highs. Looks like it wants to go higher.
270 looks to be that spot there. Kathy, your sale at 269 or whatever it was, pretty good.
Lithium Americas is
pretty good.
The momentum is starting to swing up towards the positive side. It looks like it wants to try and take out 7 here. That's the next resistance area since we're now trading above the VWAP and the 200 EMA. Should see some expanding volume here. That would be absolutely ideal to take us through 7.
Okay, so what do we think here? Do we think that the bottom is in? Or the near-term bottom, I should say. Do we think that the near-term bottom is in here? Because we are basically right above this area we wanted to see. The other thing that we wanted to see here was some expanding volume. We don't have that yet, but that could happen quickly.
I mean, if we do get that...
Sorry, really quickly here, 13. That comment that Tim Cook made that we were referencing was about canceling the car project. That's right.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
Thank you, Tuna.
Appreciate that. LAC, if we do get this breakout, this volumetric move that takes us over 730 is the next resistance area, followed by the consolidation, the sideways consolidation from the pre-market. And that's going to start at about 745 till close to 8, but I think it's more likely 780 that you'll see that big resistance area get chewed through. So break a 7, take us to 730, might find resistance there. Next area of resistance above that, 745 to 780.
Okay, we'll see if we do get this break of 7 right here. Lithium is trying. Smoke Tuna also mentioning it can cut the VWAP like butter.
What?
LAC, I believe, is what he was talking about. Yeah, LAC can.
It's already above VWAP, but that might be different for your broker because we've already seen how that can be different from broker to broker. It's already trading above VWAP for me.
I've got VWAP at 710 on the broker, 712 on TradingView.
Okay.
7 tests coming here. There is some size right ahead of it there at 699. See if we get above that. They're actually taking that size at 699. They're chipping away at it. It looks like it's getting refilled there. We'll see. And the market is at the highs here. It definitely looks like we've got a red-green move coming here shortly for the SPY and the NASDAQ. Dow is at flat as we speak.
What's happening here with AgriForce? Smoke Tuna, early. What's happening? Is this a like a food play, indoor farm? I remember seeing this. I just don't remember what this is about. Or is this just development company for agricultural technologies? Let me know, because I remember seeing this. I don't think I've ever traded this, though.
Here's your 7 test. It actually, LAC briefly tapped 7 there. It might have happened too quickly. I don't know if it must have printed at least a little bit there. We'll see if we've got enough strength to get above 7 here. There it is. There's your 7 pop. Let's see if we can hold on to this. Again, I've got VWAP at 710.
Smoke Tuna mentioning APLT, and then Angelito is mentioning BKSY. I think that's Black Sky. Yeah, that's another space play.
BK, you want me to put that one up here?
Or wait.
I think.
Yes, it's a space play. Sorry, what?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I think we've taken enough of a look here at LAC. We pretty much know what's going on here. I'll flip away to something else here. Was APLT one of the other pennies that you mentioned? Because it's ripping to the highs here.
No.
Okay, I could have sworn I heard a ticker in there, but I couldn't discern which one it was.
The Black Sky one, let me look at the space names, because we do have a launch window for the next Starship test flight, Flight 11. That's supposed to be happening this month. I think it originally was going to happen next week, and then that got moved to the week after. So that would mean that the launch window is going to be from, I think, the 12th to the 18th. Of this month. It used to be the 5th to the 6th to the 13th. But I like the space plays. Seems like a couple of them are doing pretty well today. ASTS up 7.8% today.
That's
Black
been
Sky,
on a move.
Yeah, Black Sky that you mentioned, that's the next best mover here. And then you have Lunar, which is Intuitive Machines. You have Cooler, which is the battery cooling technology. Satellogic, SATL, that's up 3%. And those are about the best ones. It's somehow Virgin Galactic's up 3.25%, but those are the best ones that are moving right now.
Okay.
Redwire, interestingly, has been it hit that bottoming area that I had mentioned. Let me just pull this up. There was a trend line that I had drawn, and somebody was asking me, is this a good spot to buy it? And I thought, I think he was asking me in the 8 to 9 handle, and I was like, this might still go lower and hit this trend line that you can draw if you start from the August 8th, 2024 low, draw it through the April 7th, 2025 low. And that's kind of where we've found some support. And it looks to be turning around. So hopefully, this is starting to get going here. We need to get a recapture of that 50-day SMA and then that gap fill from August 6th to 7th will be next.
Okay, good stuff there. Redwire. I did go ahead and add that trend line there on to session highs. Good to see that coming back with the vengeance here. CJET, that was that penny junker that pulled back.
That penny junker.
Pally actually setting some new highs here. This has been kind of rough trading action, but has inevitably resolved higher here. LAC still flirting with $7 right now.
Yeah, and they do have. See, the big thing for LIC is they really do need that volume, because I'm looking at the price ladder and I see just a lot of sellers.
Same.
Just waiting to get taken out.
Same. And I mean, it can happen quickly. It can happen real quickly, but yeah, I wanted to see some more volume. I wanted to see some more volume continue to carry through here.
Pally is running. Say some of the folks in chat.
Got it on screen already.
And this
Smoke Tuna mentioning that they have an S1 out, so you might actually get an offering there on Pally.
171 is the next resistance area, followed by like 195, $2 after that. So those are the next resistance areas I see. Fortunately, still have my levels from the last time we traded this. Don't even know which day that was. Probably was August 7th when we traded this last.
Which one? Which ticker?
Pally.
Pally still? Okay. And what was the value again?
Well, on August 7th, it ran all the way up to 190 and then reversed, and then it came all the way back down under $1 and closed under $1 that day.
Okay. So 190, if we keep going here, 190 seems like that would be a spot again.
Yeah, certainly. But we're right at the 200-day SMA, so we could end up reversing here around 160. There's a big seller in the way there. I think if we take him out, we could go for that 190, but right now we're at we're at the same moving average that rejected the price on August 7th at 190. So keep that in mind. Oh,
gotcha. Okay, that's perfect.
Mm-hmm. We are getting asked about QS. So
real quickly here, I'll take this. Shaza saying, I was in Pally since the last time it ran. I managed to get out today. Free those bags, Shaza. That is awesome stuff.
Getting asked about Quantum Scape, and look at this daily chart that we have here.
That's QS, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir. Look at the daily chart in QS, and if I mean, I might get excited about this. You could get excited about this. I'm just a little bit cautious because this also could be a double top. But if it's not, then we're breaking out of $15 and we're off.
Yep, 15 your key spot there.
Yeah,
$15 your key spot there. Okay, good stuff there. QS, QuantumScape.
You know what, Tennis is Life? That's a great idea. If you made money and you don't want to lose it, and that's good with, and you're good with the profits you made, close that broker. Have a great rest of your day.
Any
Absolutely.
day that you leave the market green and you go on to do something else, that is a positive.
Yep.
I can look at Day Trader. I can hear Mark Petrino now. Indeed. Right back to that 15 spot. Right back to that 15 spot.
All right.
Rich Tech, you want to take a look at RR today?
Oh, okay. You know what? Do you have a daily chart? Did you have a trend line on my daily chart?
For which stock?
This one.
RR?
Mm-hmm.
You got it.
You do. You do. Look at how that worked.
And it almost back tested it perfectly. I know it's not quite perfect, but it looks pretty good here.
That's
I would say 5 is going to be your next spot.
It's good enough for me that it back tested the 20-day.
Sure.
And I 5, absolutely 520, even bigger. But if we manage to get through those two, then we just have that high from late in September that will, if we break, will take us to 6. This thing ended up used to back in January of 2024. This thing ran up to over 12. So don't know if we'll end up getting that anytime soon, but.
And LAC, by the way, couldn't quite get to the VWAP there, rolling over from that $7 spot. Got to be quick on some of these.
All right, and looks like we're getting a little bit of a turnaround here with Vuzix. Momentum appears to be slowing. Not saying it's gone yet, but if we start trading near the VWAP and using that as support, I'd be a little bit concerned about this going lower.
LAES on the 5-minute, right back up to a resistance area. This kind of reminds me of the Petrino comment that Day Trader just made. Looks like we've got it set up on another one here.
I really want this to do better.
What, LAES?
Yeah. I'm looking at the chart. I'm wondering if we do kind of have a rounding or a double bottom here. I think for me, I need to see this get above 475, 480.
Okay.
I think that's the level.
I think I see exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
ACAN pretty much right back down. This actually down at its 9 EMA. Maybe a bounce spot here.
Yeah, maybe. Spread on this is about 6 to 10 cents. Pally popped up to 158 and then it's backed off. This might be losing momentum. Not sure yet, but it's starting to look like it could. Plug, still waiting for that to. So this might make for a move over 270. This has been hammering 270 all morning.
That's Plug, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. This has been hammering 270 all morning with that vital volume component. We could see a break over that. I don't know if we're going to go to 3 today, but the volume expands and we get that move over 270. It's in the cards.
Whoever asked about NVIDIA earlier, you're getting some continuation on the new all-time high break that it put. I see a ton of call sweeps coming in here. These range from today to January. A lot of them look like they're short-term here. One of them's next week. 190, 187.50, basically right where we're at. Looking like they're trading the at-the-money calls here on this NVIDIA breakout. Again, we did break to new all-time highs yesterday. Looks like you're getting a little bit of continuation here. This chart does look like it wants to push higher.
It can. Looking to try and reverse here, and I think it has to, because if it doesn't, then we're probably coming down to the 65 EMA on the 5-minute.
Okay. Line in the sand has been drawn.
Mm-hmm. All right. Keeping an eye on AES. It's slow moving, but it's gone sideways a little bit, and it looks like it's trying to move back up to some of these Levels we were higher at in the earlier stages of the market market opening. Big seller in the way that I see next at 1520. Got to take him out.
Rich Tech robotic calls going off. These expire on Halloween. These are the 6 calls. Looks like another upside bet there on Rich Tech.
Sounds like some folks want this to go to 6. And they may get that because that breakout in the back test, that's really ideal. Technical price action on a break of the trend line. This is everything we want to see so far in a technical moves for a stock. The next thing that we want to see, $6.
Nick here saying that NVIDIA is headed towards a big 190 GEX cluster. I'm not even sure what that is. I think you're saying it's heading to 190 due to this GEX cluster.
Gamma exposure?
I don't know.
I think that's what it is, gamma exposure.
It might be.
Because, when it comes to these options, man, we are really, especially, how's Markets and Mayhem, by the way? Because he's always bringing the information about where these gamma walls are. Yeah,
he's good. I talked to him last week. He's good, real busy, though. That's why he's not joining us. He's working on some project.
Good. I'm glad that he's busy. Plug over 270 now. Got that break.
Yeah, it was gamma exposure. Good call there, 13. Thank you, Nick.
And Vuzik's still looking like this is coming in a little bit. It's really, the volume's really died down in this, but we are above VWAP still. AGRI, Agroforce. This thing is kind of making some gaps up. I don't know if this is halted or not, or if it's going to halt, but still climbing. New session high is 372.
Okay. Thank you, Nick. Those gamma walls that he was referencing there, 190, 195. That's on NVIDIA, ticker NVDA.
So pretty important spots to watch for if they roll that higher or if they just kind of evaporate, right?
Yeah, well, we would know when they get up there, right? Like if we start seeing that call wall jump again, that gamma exposure jump when we get to 190, it looks like traders are going to be positioning to go a little bit higher. He's telling us he sees it there at 190 and 195, so that gives you target 1 and 2.
AIHS, we mentioned this one earlier today. This just had a nice move that took it up over the regular session high. Got a little bit of a backing off, but then we're moving higher. Looks like we're trying to get into this after hours consolidation area. We might see 275, 280 pretty soon here. As a matter of fact, whether this just hit 270. Okay, so a little bit. Wow, this is really starting to get going here. 275 to 280 is the next resistance area I see here with AIHS.
Okay, I was looking at MLYS there. Angelito mentioning that in the chat. Didn't see any news there except for the piece yesterday. Let me know if you have some context on that.
Yeah, Jay Rice, that PFE move, that's all on this whole, White House discussion with drug prices. And, I think it may be worth looking at why this is so big for PFE. I'm sure it has to, do with sales, but what's the profit margins going to be if they have to reduce drug prices? I guess that's kind of why I'm like, we need to look into this some more. Nice job, Lion Atlas, on your profits. And then Smoke Tuna, you're mentioning DXYZ. This is the stock that if you want to play SpaceX, the one that you pretty much have the most, that you can get the most exposure to, unless you take their shares directly, which are not on the exchange. You have to go through like Barron's to get them. But this is moving up here today. Really nice reversal off of $21. Is there news going on with this, or is this just the hype into the upcoming launch this month?
Nice pop here on AIHS. Look at that.
Yeah,
you're right, Tuna.
Yeah, and DXYZ is up over 20% in short order. Must be a squeeze. 15.6% with 4.6 days to cover. That's pretty close. Not exactly what we're looking for, but pretty close. They had earnings 2 months ago. They may have. No, they didn't. I don't think they guided.
Just going to run through some more stocks here real quick. LAC not getting the big bounce yet. Still think that might be worth keeping on watch. ACAN might be done, at least for right now. We'll see if it settles. Same deal as we talked about earlier with LAC. You can kind of wait for that to settle. You don't necessarily need to try to catch the knife on the way back down. D-Pro, this is pulling back a little bit, but again, pretty much in the same area as yesterday's intraday highs. QS here, this pulled back a little bit, but is bouncing. Ondas pulled back, but that's because of Zach, who was cheering it and caused it to go back down. Zach, hopefully you learned your lesson. Of course, I'm just kidding. Wink, wink.
I had a question here. Izzy, what symbol? I was last talking about DXYZ. That's the one that you can take for a trade if you want to play SpaceX, because they have SpaceX shares. BIIB found a bottom. That's Biogen, I believe, right?
Yep, Biogen Iodec. Wow, DXYZ is running right now.
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, let's look at the watch list of space names again and see if they're going. So ASTS and Black Sky higher now. Some of these other names in the space, watch list that I have here went from red to green.
LAC just popped back to 7. Not quite at its VWAP yet, but this actually looks fairly decent. I'd like to see some corresponding volume with this.
Now, as far as BIIB goes, they had some news earlier this week about how they secured a approval from China for LEKEMBI maintenance dosing. I don't know what that drug is, but it's for Alzheimer's, early Alzheimer's. So that's the only news that I see recently that's causing it to move. Float still pretty heavy, 113 million shares. So, and I remember this one was this one was getting controversial with FDA approvals at one point.
Which one?
BIIB.
Oh yeah, Biogen. I didn't trade that at all, but I do vaguely remember that. NTLA here, someone was mentioning this earlier, didn't have a whole lot of context with it. NTLA, big rip out of the open. Volumes died down a little bit, but still we went to some new highs here. Maybe it's expanding again. This is one of those gene editors that we've talked about with Eat It and CRISPR. Let's see. We have Wainwright, sticks to its buy rating, but that's not terribly new. I don't think there's anything fresh here. Nice 11% move, though, for NTLA.
I want to say that when we were trying to take this for a trade and we weren't sure about it, and it ended up doing well because they had another drug in the pipeline that was approved, and there was one that we were looking at that wasn't approved. I don't remember if that was the move from June of 2021 or the move from September of 22. But I do remember, kind of scratching my head as to why it was moving up, and then they had news about another drug that was approved while the one that we were watching didn't get approved. Crazy.
That wasn't. No, I was thinking the drug that we were watching, but that was I was thinking about EYPT and Regeneron because.
Oh no, I'm not referring to that.
Yeah, no. I got it mixed up with something else because I feel like we were looking for one of those. The EYPT drug had great data and ended up going.
EYPT. I haven't looked at that in a while.
It actually. You know what? I'd like to hear you chart this a little bit because here we are. I know when we first started trading this, it was like $6 or $7. Went to what, 30, I think?
Mm-hmm.
Went to like 30. Yeah, went to 30. Now we've come back in. I'm almost wondering here. We curling back here. We have another target here about $20. Maybe a first target here, 15, 16-ish.
We have a gap fill. A big gap fill.
Yep.
That's from about 14 all the way up to 1975. Something to keep an eye on here. And this has been in a really nice upward move. They even had a inverse head and shoulders, really nice one too.
And here's the other thing that I drew on this. Check this out. I drew this head and shoulders that it's done. This is done now.
Yeah, but I mean, look at from February to June of this year. At the first 6 months of the year, especially with that Liberation Day trade, really provided a nice bullish reversal pattern here. Inverse head and shoulders. That's taking us up well beyond where the range of where this resolves to. So really nice to see. I think I'd be keeping an eye out for that gap fill.
Good. I'm glad that that's what you said, because when I looked at this the other day, I was like, this one might be back. We should watch this one. Okay, good stuff there, 13.
Now, one thing to watch for also, see how it's been riding up that 20-day SMA. I don't think we want to lose that, because that could be a bear signal if it does, if we start closing underneath that. So just something to keep in mind. Okay,
good stuff. Good stuff here. Folks, smash up the like for that analysis. Where else do you get that? BTYX.
Do we look at the hour chart for range? I click on an hour chart from time to time.
It's one of the chart settings that I have as my favorite here. The rest of those are the 1, 5, 15 hour, daily, weekly, monthly. I do sometimes, but it's not my favorite. I think I prefer the 15 in the day. Sometimes I'll look at the hour if I want to see a time frame in between.
Yeah, 15 is a pretty common time frame that I hear a lot about. Okay,
poll results. The Tim Cook poll. If Tim Cook leaves Apple, does it go higher? 64% of you said yes, 21% of you said not sure, and 15% of you said no. Okay, good stuff there. Producer, I appreciate you throwing that poll together on short notice.
Yeah, thanks. That was fun. And AES, this is kind of looking interesting too. It's coming back up to the session high that it made earlier of 1540. Still need to see some better volume, but if this might be one that gets going later on in the day, if not, right about now. As we have the 65 EMA approaching the VWAP, once that happens, it tends to get a bit of a lift to a higher price as it approaches that crossing. So this is something I'm watching for here with AES. We need to see some better volume, but it is moving back up towards the session high. Yeah, it is good to look at all time frames.
Yeah,
it's great to stick with the ones that work for you, but it's never going to hurt to look at different time frames, because sometimes you'll see something different that may change your strategy about how you're playing the stock on a smaller or larger time frame.
Sometimes you might even notice a pattern, and that might make that time frame one of the favorites. I do that all the time. I look at time frames all the time, or I try to rotate through them. I know on some of these fast moving trades, we probably don't do that as much, but I do that.
Okay, so
lithium, really quickly here, Lithium Argentina, that's LAR, not LAC. This is actually having a pretty good move here today. And interestingly enough, we're 82% of its average volume right now, 82.5%. I think this is easily going to trade over its average volume here today. There might be some additional interest, ticker LAR, Lithium Argentina.
Smoke Tune is mentioning that RVYL might turn around. Ryan Sumrall mentioning open. And here we have AES about to make a new session high. It's right there where at 1540. Now, D-Pro, this is not looking that great to me. This looks like this could go lower. We're getting support from VWAP, but I'm not sure how long that's going to hold up. This pattern that we've been forming over the regular session looks a little bearish to me. Of course, we could invalidate this if we get back above, I would say, 975. But right now, we might be forming the right shoulder to an intraday head and shoulders pattern. So I think, take a little caution here with D-Pro if we end up getting that resolution.
Open at yesterday's intraday high here. This 840, 841 looks to be a key level. We're testing it right now. Also, LAC did retake 7. We'll see if that can take the VWAP there, 708. LAC slams back down beneath 7. That's amazing.
LAC knock on $7. Absolutely. Big seller in the way at 710 that I see. I didn't know what to expect this morning, but I was kind of concerned about there not being a lot of really good movement in some of these names, but it's been a pretty good morning. I must say,
yeah, it's not been bad.
Government shutdown and all. I wasn't sure what to expect.
Yeah, it's been all right. It's been all right. I am 2 for 3 on day trades. Not a huge amount of profit there, but 2 for 3 on day trades. I am encouraged to see some of the swings coming back, right? The market was notably weaker in the pre-market on the back of that government shutdown that you were mentioning. And it does look like that's really kind of come back a little bit here. Market is at or near the highs. And some of the other swings that were in here were lower earlier today. Those are coming back to the highs. So I agree. Not necessarily sure what to expect. Had a pretty good idea. Looks like it's doing all right today. No 100% runners.
Right. Yeah. Let's see. There was a question. Supri is asking, is ACAN coming back up again? Now, it looks like it's trying to turn around. But I think for me, the area that I need to see get recaptured is going to be 715. Now, that is beneath my VWAP, but it looks like prior to this going lower, that was a bit of a support area. So if we come back up here, I would think that we get some resistance around 715 prior to going up to VWAP. So that would be the next area I'd be watching for resistance, is 715 area in AKAN. And Angelito also asking about SYM news and Smoked Tuna mentioning ESLA, and PJ Trader saying RZLV waking up.
Jay here saying every government shutdown is a BTFD opportunity. Gotta be honest with you. I agree with this, especially after looking at the stats. Jay, I tried to cover some of this while you were on the other show this morning. I tried to make this point earlier. Does look like, at least so far, that's where we're at. And
just as we were pointing out earlier, with the last time that we had that government shutdown, the actual day after the government shutdown, because the 35-day shutdown from 2018 to 19 happened during the weekend. The very next day where we started trading, that was the viable dip. We printed the low, and then the very next day, stocks were rebounding.
Angelito, I don't see any news for Symbiotic, ticker SYM. No fresh news here today.
Well, I don't have any open positions right now.
Neither do I. No open day trades. Rich, take care of yourself. Keep putting that positive energy into the universe. We could use it.
Kenny Rogers saying that Costco is super busy and thriving. Costco has been tanking pretty bad. Oh, by the way, AIHS, this is getting some volume after holding some VWAP, so keep an eye on that while I look at Costco here. But, part of the thing with Costco is that this has been on a really good run, and it seemed like this just kind of needed to cool off and come back in. Now, it's been doing that for, over a year now, where it's kind of putting in a topping out formation. But, it might be looking great in one store, and in other stores might not be doing so well. But all the same, I think because we're getting a bit of I don't want to say we're getting necessarily a weakening consumer, but it does seem like that's what we're headed towards here. And if we have this government shutdown, how much is that going to affect Costco? I mean, people are that work for the government still need to eat, right? So how much is that going to affect their sales? I'm still looking for 875 in this thing.
We just had the earnings there on September 25th. The next one is not until December. I'll be honest with you. Just to kind of piggyback on what he was saying here, my Costco's are slammed. And honestly, the extra hour that executive members get in the morning, I see people using that every week I go. I actually drive by another one. Sometimes when I'm on my way to golf, I drive by another one in the morning that I don't regularly go to, and that parking lot is always full even before the store opens. I suspect that you're going to get good earnings prints around Christmas, in December there, when we have the next earnings report. In the meantime, though, everything 13 said about this is downtrend and this kind of rolling over. All of that is true. The last discussion that we had in Happy Hour, we were talking about 880 to 885. 13, I think you had 865, if I'm remembering correctly.
875 is my level.
Okay, we're real close there. I'm doing my best to try to remember all these numbers. Let's say 875 to 885, likely load area there for Costco. If you look at the chart here, I've got my cursor pretty much at 883 right now. That to me looks like a pretty good area if we continue to roll over. I don't think this is going anywhere. And as far as the shut, I still think there's a mechanic where people trade down to Costco if they can, because you can just the ability to get more for less is always there.
Looks like we're about to be done here.
Look at.
Go ahead.
No. Keep going. Sorry.
And just wanted to point out some of these names that we were looking at that it looked like they're rolling over. So LAES is one, Pally is another, AGRI. This just made a session high of 380. That doesn't look like it's rolling over yet. Vuzix might be. ACAN has already rolled over and going lower. Plug, you might start to get this to roll over as well. Not sure about DPro. Although this is still looking like it's putting in a bearish formation. And then looks like HCTI is trying to recover, going back up to VWAP. PGY, this is about to lose its 200 EMA on the 5-minute. And AES looks like this is still trying to get up to that 1540 area that we outlined earlier.
Okay. Real quick here, I wanted to highlight this comment. Perry here saying, a member of Costco since 85. Lucky you. You've got me beat by like 20 years more, 30 years. Wow. Should have bought one share every month. Be worth more than $1 million. And you know what? That's just a really good example. Just goes to show you, if you trade something that you know, and you have a long-term time horizon on it, even a situation where you're adding one share at a time, that can add up, especially over the long term. That's good stuff there. Ryan, last weekend I saw an awesome golf course at the top of a ski resort. Yeah, that sounds awesome. And Wiss, I'm going to Innisbrook for a golf trip tomorrow. See y'all Tuesday. Wiss, take care of yourself. Go low. Enjoy your trip for sure.
Is Costco in Head and Shoulders? I mean, I can see how that can be seen. Like the left shoulder would be from December of last year. The head would be from February, and the right shoulder is from May. I can kind of see that, but this just kind of looks like it's more of a rounding top to me. Because where exactly do you draw the neckline? Is my question. Is it like at 910? Is it a little bit higher, or is it slanted? So I mean, I'm not saying that you're wrong or anything. I don't know that I would necessarily call it this. It may even be considered a double top. But in any case, they're all bearish formations, and I do think that this is coming in. And I have 875 as the next support area that I see.
Okay, 13. It's time for the story trading, boys. You got any closing words for the group here?
Hey, folks, sorry about my hiccup yesterday. Got the hiccups out of the way. So back to trading with y'all. I'll see everybody tomorrow in the chat on Thursday, and then on the show after the futures morning show is on. Looking forward to hanging out with you guys again. Take care, everybody. Have a great, wonderful rest of your day. See you then. Goodbye.
13, really good stuff. We are glad to have you back. And as a reminder, yes, we do have Futures Forward, our new segment that covers predominantly futures, but we're still going to cover everything else. We're going to have that tomorrow. 13 will be in the chat, and then we'll bring him on as soon as that segment is over. Thank you very much, 13. In the meantime, it is my pleasure to welcome on Ben and Rhett from Story Trading. Gentlemen, how are you today?
What's up? Doing great. Look, number one pick of the day in our community, ASTS this morning. Look at that.
Nice.
Very beautiful. I didn't execute right on it. I only made $600-700 and I'm out right now. But Rhett, you must be killing it. Why don't you
I'm
tell
up 45% on
Let's go, boys. Take it away.
All right. See you.
47. There we go.
So you killed it on ASTS today. That is beautiful. Man. I did get back in. I like right here when it broke this. You see this 53.50, but I just scalped it at like 53.50 to like 54.20 or something.
Here we go, 50%. We just hit.
Going to our target. So this morning, in the morning though, and good morning, Godfather. Don't mean to ignore you, but I gotta talk about this. This morning in the morning, though, I had put 54 to 55 target, I believe, or did I say 53 to 54? Let's see. 54 to 55 was the target I put in on the 6:45 a.m. morning note, and it hit 54.99 right there on the morning show this morning. Rhett, I think you may have given it an even higher target. I think you went to 56. If I'm not mistaken.
56, correct.
56. So look, if I stuck with the script here, I would be having a great day, but I didn't. And I just made a little bit of money instead of a ton of money. So congratulations on that execution there, Rhett. Unbelievable.
I'm about to be 90% out here, by the way, guys. So.
Wow. Amazing. Look at that. Number one pick of the day yesterday also killed it, UMAC. Oh, and UMAC is exploding now. At least I'm in UMAC. So our top picks today and yesterday, really killing it. I almost have. All right, let me get to macro. Steve and I, Godfather, I'm not going to talk about macro real quick, but then let's get back into these individual stocks. Look, this morning, in the morning note, I said this government shutdown is a non-issue based on all my experience. And I look back at the data in 2018 during the 35-day shutdown. The SPY was up like 13%. So nobody cares, honestly. It's not, and I totally dismissed it. I've been dismissing it all week, every morning in my morning note. And looks like that was the right thing to do. Look at all these red to green moves. This morning, jobs data comes in, ADP very bad. A little bit surprised why is IWM flat like this? You know, with SPY and QQQ ripping. Actually, they're not. They're flat. Everything's flat. IWM made it back. Okay, it was down, made it back. TLT up 0.5%. You see risk assets, leading indicator of risk assets. This is maybe a sign. Ethereum at the 20 DMA looks like it may be exploding. By the way, BMNR was a top 5 pick this morning, but I didn't play it. I assume it's doing really well right at this moment. But anyway, that's the macro look. But I've been having trouble, and just gonna complain for 2 seconds. I've been having great macro calls. Even individual stock picks like ASCS great, but for whatever reason, you did great on the execution. You can predict the macro right. You can even predict a whole bunch of stocks that'll do well. But then when it comes to execution, you can't be everywhere, and you got to select what to focus in on. And I've been in a rut, just airing it out there. I've been in a rut for like 3 weeks. I'm just not picking the right stocks, and my execution's been subpar. I'm like stuck in IMRX, stuck in BZAI. It's been a few weeks of underperformance for me, unfortunately. Doesn't happen often, but anyway, that's my complaint. Godfather, over to you.
Yeah, look, another stellar September for the books, right? NDX up some 5%, the best in 10 years. And, against that backdrop, you've got retail that's fully invested, according to folks that track this, like AAII. But you got institutions that actually took down their weighting. And it's not just hedge funds, although apparently they, took down their weighting the most since the 24th of July. And long short funds have taken down their weighting the most since Liberation Day. And you've had this big pension rebalance as well. So the calendar's flipped here. You've got pretty much every institutional fund manager that is trailing their bogeys, that being performance of the indices. And now they've caught themselves underweight. And you've got a Trump administration that's being very active in terms of policy changes, which is causing, some major moves in major sectors in the market. Unfortunately, it's a lot of the themes that we've been in. So I think, and I add to the backdrop there, a falling rate environment and relatively buoyant corporate earnings. I think most of the angst with respect to tariffs is sort of behind the market. So I think this sets up really well for the fourth quarter, and it sets up well for what we do, which is actually finding alpha, across the spectrum from, mega cap tech, right down to micro cap.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
and I don't know. Is it just me who's had trouble stock picking, executing the last couple of weeks? It might be. Or are you also seeing some difficulty under the surface? Or am I just in a rut?
well, I certainly had my frustrating names, right? I look at the physical AI space, and this BZAI just can't catch a break in the market. Nobody seems to care.
And I got a big position last night. It was a top pick this morning. Where is it? BZAI. Just getting killed on it. I don't get it.
So from a short-term trading perspective, this has been difficult. LDIs,
and that's another one. This is my biggest loss of the year, unrealized right now. Well, I also have some realized losses on call options that didn't work out. Why is it on a day like today, Godfather? Why isn't LDI doing better on a day like today with that jobs number and TLT pumping? What's going on here?
Yeah, I would have expected more, actually, and I did expect more, but we really haven't seen, this thing is pegged to the 10-year for now, and we really haven't seen a material, it's down a bit, but we really haven't seen a material move in the 10-year yields. But, as I mentioned on Stocks on Spaces yesterday, look, out of the blue, for us, except for, maybe the guys that front ran in the administration that knew about this, the Trump administration made this announcement on coal, for example, right? Increasing these federal lands available for leasing, lowering royalties, and carving some money, DOE money out to restart coal-fired power plants, all the rest of this kind of stuff. We saw what they've done in terms of stimulating activity on the nuclear side. You see the spending that's happening on missiles and Golden Dome and all the rest of this. And I really, in terms of a sector where you can skate to where the puck is going to go, I think housing is where you're going to want to be. And again, like they haven't had luck in pressuring Powell to increase his cadence of interest rate cuts, which is for sure the number one thing. But there are other levers they can pull, right? They can task Freddie Mae and Fannie Mac to buy MBS, and those spreads, MBS
Ooh,
spreads to 10 years have come down.
What do you look at this? Sorry.
So, yeah.
Yeah. So
What is it?
hopefully LDI will catch a bid because of that. But IMRX with the big move. I mean, when is the bottom going to be in? This has been such a frustrating name for me. Again, just these idiosyncratic, unusual underperformances has really been, plaguing me here. Look at this. IMRX, after pancreatic cancer data, they raised money, $200 million, including $25 million from Sanofi at $9.23. I did not think the stock would go below $9.23. I started buying up there, and then when it dipped below $9.23, I'm like, oh, this can't last. I started adding more. I've been adding all the way down from like $9.23 all the way down to here after great pancreatic cancer data. When have you ever heard? When is the last time you've seen a raise with no warrants, no convertibles, clean equity at $9.23 with Sanofi as part of it, and it drops all the way to $6.50 after a few days? I mean, I'm hurting, man. I mean, I don't know why. It's just like the heavens have it in for me right now. I don't get it, but maybe this is the bottom. I don't know what you think.
Well, this is the second day that we've bottomed around the 650. I bought some, I think, at 647 yesterday was my best buy. I'm surprised the thing cracked up below 7 again. But look, it's showing signs of being washed out here. I think we're probably reading too much into the fact that they didn't press release this thing. It's frustrating, but you see it all the time.
Have you seen it?
I don't know.
Wait, is it common? I haven't seen it. I always.
Yeah, it is common. I've had the same situation on stocks, small cap stocks, where there's a lot of concern. You go on social media and everyone's questioning, well, did the deal close? Did it not? Is it going to be repriced? What's happened to it? This, that, the next thing. But look, they haven't press released the deal. There seems to be two sides of the coin here on their data. I'm certainly in the camp with Oppenheimer, who upgraded this thing to 30. They're smarter than I am on this biotech stuff. But from the initial data, when this thing reported and it was in the 2s and we were all over it, nothing's changed. The data continues to be strong. Now the company has a treasury that's, fully stocked, 200 million plus. They've got a strategic investor in Sanofi. So let's just let the market, sort itself out here. You're seeing some insider buying. It's small, but, the right boxes are being ticked here, and, let the price action be your guide. To the extent that you can buy this thing in the mids to low 6s, I think the risk reward is quite solid on this name. But look, it's a biotech name, so allocate in your portfolio accordingly.
I had a conspiracy theory that the only reason they would not PR the closing of the deal is because insiders want to buy. I predicted another Form 4 today, and we got it. So 2 Form 4s in a row, one yesterday, one today. But the size has been small. I'm like, why kind of leave that uncertainty out in the market just because you want to buy, what was it, 15,000 shares or 12,500 shares over a span of 2 days? Like, all right, if you wanted to buy 1 million shares or something like that, then maybe I'd be more forgiving of their little scheme. But anyway, I digress. UMAC yesterday called this number one pick of the day. It was a top pick again today with a target of 1650 to 18. I think yesterday was an inflection point moment for UMAC, and I even recommended that you could add it to long-term accounts, although I didn't add it to a long-term account for myself, just in the short-term account. So UMAC yesterday finally getting a government order, $12.8 million. Needham raises the price target from 15 to 20, and I think this is gone. I think it might 1650 today. Hello? You guys there?
Yeah, I can hear you. Sorry, I
Oh.
was in the middle of doing.
Oh, you guys are both busy. Anyway,
Yeah,
I was just pausing in case you had any reaction to that UMAC prediction I have there for you guys.
The UMAC prediction was amazing. I mean, you nailed that one yesterday. Kudos to that. I mean, and today as well. We were talking on the show this morning, saying if we could break above, it was like 15 or 15:30.
It's in the morning note.
Said,
It's in the morning note. Here, in the morning note, I put here.
Away.
In the morning note, I put in the short term, 1650 is the next target. Oh, I didn't talk about the resistance in the morning note, but we did on the show around 1525. But anyway, it's doing pretty well there. That's UMAC. All right.
I pinged the community. I'm all out ASTS now.
Oh, beautiful. Good job. That's
Thanks.
just unbelievable. My target was 54 to 55. Yours was 56. 2 days in a row, our number one pick. Just nailed it perfectly. Beautiful.
Close enough to hitting it. So
did
happy with
Godfather, did you want to talk about BZAI at all?
No, I would if there was something to talk about. I mean, look, it's frustrating. The stock trades at a massive discount to its physical AI peers. The management team is full of Palo Alto, Intel, Marvell. Their CFO is ex of Mozilla. So, look, these are credible people. They have a real product in terms of both hardware and software combined for edge compute. They've announced that the identity of their 65 million of their backlog, that contract that they announced earlier, and it's basically
and they started shipping.
India sovereign.
It's announced last
night. It's the Indian government. Yeah. So there was a short report saying, who is this Chinese client, for $100 million order? This company was just formed and all the rest of it. But you get these companies that are formed that actually sign the contract, but the backers behind them are a coalition of folks implementing the technology. And it's the same thing in India. Eventually, this is the government, and they're using this to make smart cameras. 250,000 cameras is the initial rollout. This is for recording license plates, controlling traffic lights, all of these kinds of things. So look, I can't tell you when the market's going to glom onto the fact that this is not a promote. This is a real company with a real product in a market with real demand, and they will start booking revenue. And I think it's probably going to take a quarter where you can actually see it in the income statement, before
I'll tell you,
the market. It should be trading between $5 and $6 to trade, on par to where the OSSSs, the Lightpaths of the world, the ONDSs are. I mean, you put an Ondas valuation on this thing, and the thing is $8. So, but look, let's go with what's working in the market. And, you were talking about UMAC. They got their largest order. It was a build it and they can come story, right? That was in Florida. They built this big facility, and now they're starting to get through the Donald Trump connection, junior connection, I presume, some orders to start filling that facility. But, the bigger story here is New Tech Defense. And, Trump was out yesterday saying, hey, we've started construction on Golden Dome. You saw this headline out of the Wall Street Journal where they said, Pete Hegseth and the others are saying, we need to double our production capacity in 12 key segments. And most of these are hypersonic missile related. So, how do you play this in the market? Well, the best performers in defense, for good reason, have been three companies. AV, you see that, $500 million contract this morning. Karman, KRMN, and KTOS, KTOS. Why? Because these guys are in all of these subsegments, right? It's UAVs, it's hypersonic, it's satellite, space base stations, it's anti-UAS, it's all of these things that the government and the DoD is prioritized in terms of spend. In addition to these are the larger drones, right? We're talking about the New Tech Defense being, fighter jets that have drone swarms that go along with them. And then on top of that, you've got Trump that's actually using this as a way to improve the trade deficit. He signed this $100 billion contract with the Saudis to sell missiles, but you had to reclass under the MCTR all of these missiles as aircraft. And he's done that. Unilaterally, he's done that. So not only are they going to spend more for domestic, but they're going to spend more to sell these weapons. And he wants to get them in the hands of NATO. He wants to have Poland and these guys have these long-range missile weapons. If they decide to use it on Russia, that's their deal. But at least the technology is out there, and of course, U.S. is leading in all of that. The one company that provides the most key elements to the supply chain for a lot of those hypersonic technologies is Karman, and they actually provide their technology to KATOS, to AVAV, to the big defense primes, the RTXs, the Northrop Grumman's of the world, the LDIs, the General Dynamics. So, I dug deep on this because I had a very large position in KATOS and a smaller position in Karman. And, right now KATOS is trading at almost a double the valuation of Karman. And I think Karman, KRMN, is just suffering from the fact that it's a new IPO. It doesn't have a lot of research coverage, although Raymond James, who arguably has the best.
By the way, sorry to interrupt you. Sorry, I just want to know, we've had a $11 target on DPRO. I'm not in it, but we've been trading it, and it looks like it's exploding right towards 11. That's the next target. We've been talking about that target since yesterday. Sorry, go ahead with Karman.
$5 million float. It's a promote company. Trade it, don't invest in it. But I think there's still money to be made. This contract, yes, it looks like they got a blessing from the U.S. Army, but note that there was no dollar value attached to this.
It's totally a promote. And sorry, that this is a great segue. I wanted to say something about BZI before you finish up. Any final thoughts on Karman? But you mentioned hey, we don't know when it's going to start moving or when it won't be seen as a promote or whatever. Look, I think that's going to happen at some point. You're going to have influencers picking up on BZAI. This is going to be the next oust. I'm not and you've seen, if you follow us on Story Trading, we don't really promote stocks. I'm very, very kind of neutral when we talk about stocks. We don't sit there repeating the same name over and over and spamming them. And most FinTwit influencers do that. We don't do that, right? I don't like to try to influence markets. All right. We just put it out there factually. We say, this is our pick and we move on. Right. But I got to tell you, I think that's the only difference. Why does a DPRO have this kind of chart and BZI is down here? It's just a matter of time till someone who's willing to do what I'm not willing to do, to go out there and just, spam about BZI every single day saying this is the next oust. And then, it's going to explode. And I think it'll happen. It's just a matter of time. But it's not going to be us because it's just not what we do. I don't like to pump stocks, but
I have confidence in that management team. I have confidence in their product and their ability to put this pipeline into actual POs and book the revenue against it. But again, most people are short-term focused, and they want to have that promote as well. Unfortunately, this company is run by ex-Intel engineers. Anyway,
Intel's
just to round
starting
up,
to become a hot name now. Yeah. Anyway, okay, go ahead. Go with the Karman. In fact,
the last thing I wanted to say on Karman is all you got to do is look at the margins, and these guys have 30%, in excess of 30% EBITDA margins. Where do you see this? You don't see this outside of software. And why? Why do they get 30% margins on hardware? Because they own and control the key technology, and they're a key player and a key component in the supply chain for these weapons. So every single prime that wants to provide certain technologies that the U.S. government is asking for these days has to utilize these as a key component in their supply chain, and these guys are a key component in their supply chain. So if you look at just the average price, in this group, there's 40% upside to KRMN. If you go to the high end and use KATOS, and honestly, KATOS has lower sales growth, lower margins by a material factor. I mean, KATOS says they reported 8% adjusted EBITDA margins. Look, it's a great company. They have great products. They're in the right places. But at the end of the day, how much are you paying for earnings? And right now you're paying 120 times on an EV to EBITDA for KTOS in
By the way,
2026. So anyway, I swapped KTOS for Carmen, and I think you're going to see this stock hit new highs, because this is a key part of the market where the Trump administration has focused their guns and focused their budgetary dollars.
Let's do some of that right now live on the show. Look at this. I have KTOS, thanks to you. I'm up 168% on it. You must have been talking about this back in May. I got KTOS back starting at like $34. I've taken some off the table. Would you recommend? I don't know. I don't have a lot of free cash in my retirement account, but what do you think about ringing the register on KTOS here to up 170% and put it in Carmen, or do you think it's good to still have?
That's exactly what I did in my long-term account.
So it's not even about you don't want that diversity and still keep KTOS because of the momentum. You're like you'd rather just have Carmen instead of KTOS.
I'm concerned that at a PE of 120 and an EV EBITDA of 120, and
all right, guys, I'm doing it right now. All right, you made me a lot of money in my retirement account on KTOS, up 170%.
Look, it's up 350% year to date. Carmen is up 240%. And look, I want to squeeze in some comment here on coal, specifically Peabody, BTU, because there's really one player.
I just did the rotation. And if you were with us in our Discord, you could have been in KTOS also at and held it from 34 to 92. All right, that was Discord magic from The Godfather. And now I'm in Carmen. Okay, we're talking about BTU.
BTU. Look, the administration 2 days ago came out. I already kind of outlined the things that they did for coal, but look at the landscape here. In terms of energy that's required for data center alone, not to mention the fact that all this onshoring is going to cause more demand outside of AI for energy infrastructure in the U.S., which hasn't been updated. Nuclear is still 5 to 7 years out. You've got all of this growth. Where does the incremental power come from? Well, natural gas is like 40% of that, but there are constraints. We've been all over AGX. I think you own AGX in your long-term account. I do as well. Why? Because they're the number one constructor of natural gas-fired power plants. But there's, you look at the General Electrics of the world that provide some of these key turbine technologies and all the rest of it, and there are constraints. There are bottlenecks in terms of capacity. So if nuclear isn't there, you don't have baseload power with renewables, and natural gas is constrained in terms of capacity, not natural gas itself, but the actual natural gas-fired power plants and ability to construct them and get them online in time. Where do you go? You go to coal. Why? Because all of that infrastructure already exists. The capacity for all of this growth already exists. Coal was 50% of the US power grid 25 years ago. It's now 15%, 15%. Okay. All of the growth between now and 2030 can be handled by bringing more coal-fired power plants on stream. And that's exactly what you saw Energy Secretary Wright talk about yesterday. That's exactly what Trump gets. And 20 to 25% of the entire coal-fired energy in the United States is controlled by BTU. They have the ability to do $500 million in earnings a year. And the market cap on this is like 3. You can earn the entire market cap during this duration that I'm talking about. So now thermal coal is an AI play.
The PE, you say? The market cap?
The stock is up 100% this year. And this is a coal stock. But the valuations, compare this to, compare this to Oklo, no revenue, no earnings, 20 billion plus market cap. So anyway, I made this a large new core position.
Nice. Love it. All right, Rhett, you got any thoughts? What are you looking at?
Just speaking of the nuclear name, didn't someone say that they were going to have it out by 2026, if I'm not mistaken?
Aqua?
I think that was Oklo.
No.
Right?
No, look, there's all sorts of milestones with respect to design approvals and all the rest of it. But in terms of actual scale implementation of SMRs, to contribute power where it's needed, if you look at the growth curve, just on the incremental power for AI that goes to 2030, its ability to participate in that is really starts to come on stream, near the tail end of that. So you've got this gap from, call it 2026, right through to 2029, 2030 before we start seeing some of these technologies come on in a way that's meaningful in terms of contribution.
And by the way, there is a SMR. There's 2 SMRs despacking over the next several weeks. The first one's GSRT, going to be despacking to nuclear next week, NKLR, and then we also have HOND, HOND. I don't know what the new ticker symbol is going to be for HOND, but these are both SMRs coming up for despacs. And we got in our Discord a guaranteed way to make $1.50 a share on the GSRT despac. So if you want to learn more about that, head on over our Discord. Pretty much risk-free. What's the risk on that, Godfather? Like a 0.5% chance you lose your money, and like a 99.5% chance you make like 18% in 8 days, right? Something like that.
Yeah, it's a question of whether you think a vote's going to go through or not.
Don't give them all the details. Come over to Discord.
but you've also had it. You also, this is a company that just completed a financing. So who puts new money?
Pretty much 100% chance. You never know, but 99.99999% chance that you can make guaranteed 18% here with GSRT in the next.
I parked some proxy for cash money in that name for exactly that reason.
Yep, that's so have I. Yeah. As we watch DPro go to our target, heading to that 11 target without me. Ryan, what's up?
Sorry, really quickly here. You guys got the DPro chart up there. Is there anything you'd like me to ask the CEO? I believe I'm going to interview this gentleman next week.
I don't know the company well. I just from the chart, the technicals, the 11's the target, but I don't know. Godfather, do you have any questions?
You're interviewing Cam Chell?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So how about actual quantifiable backlog? So there's a lot of press releases that talked about these initiatives that sound great, but I'm a fundamental guy, and I think the promotion only gets you so far. At some point, you're going to have to put some numbers around this. So what does the backlog look like? What sort of conversion can we expect in terms of bookings? So revenue 26, 27.
Okay, great stuff. I think we're still trying to finalize that, but I believe we're going to try and do that on Monday. So Godfather, appreciate that. I will try and get you that answer, and I'll give you that clip. Yes, sir.
See this? How do you like this?
That is
bull bear.
So that's funny that you have that. That is a bull bear statue. I actually think my mother has the same one. Because that looks extremely familiar.
I got this from Rhett as a birthday gift. So thank you,
Rhett. That's a great gift, dude.
I figured it would be.
I gotta put a table over here. This is what I gotta do. I gotta put a little table and I'll put it right there. That's what I gotta do.
Just mount a little shelf there, man. Make it a centerpiece.
Yeah.
All right, you guys, great stuff again here today. Really appreciate it. We got nothing else, so we'll catch you next week. All right.
All right. Take care.
All right, that is Ben, Rhett, and the Godfather getting it done for Story Trading as per usual. Folks, really good Wednesday here. Be sure to stop back tomorrow. We're going to be going live again at 8 a.m. We also have the Futures Forward segment tomorrow. We'll see you then. Stay green, stay safe, stay focused. Have a great rest